It is 6:20 on this Sunday. I'm meteorologist Andrew Kozak. Berks and Lehigh counties right now have a tornado warning. We're going to stay with you until we can get this warning expired or canceled. But right now we have a line of storms moving through northwest of the Philadelphia area. Again, Berks and Lehigh County, and that is producing a tornado warning. And that means right now these thunderstorms are producing some very heavy rain, gusty winds, and at the upper levels enough rotation in the clouds to potentially give a tornado. Right now the tornado, the most likely area is going to be closer to the Kutztown area. What I'm going to do is walk out of the way a little bit and kind of zoom in on where the most likely portion of this tornado would be right now. And that's going to be right there along Highway 222. You can see that there in Kutztown. What I'm going to also do is put a little track on this for you. And what that's going to enable us to do is give a better look at what we're seeing as far as the potential tornado. It's going to be right there, right by the K on Kutztown, moving to the north and to the east at about 35 miles per hour. This means if you're in Kutztown, 627, Eagle Point at 633, we're looking at basically all these areas within this Berks and Lehigh County all the way through the next couple of minutes. If you are in this area here, especially the Kutztown area, you need to get to your shelters immediately. And what that means is an interior section of your home. If you don't have a basement, which is, by the way, the best place to go, then get into an interior portion of your first floor or the lowest floor that you have. That would be a bathroom or a closet. And the best thing to do is get down, crouch down, and protect your head, because the best chances of injuries or worse would always be to your head. Make sure all the windows, you're away from those. Make sure the pets are inside as well. So that's what we're seeing right now. Let me zoom back out again. This is the storm here right now that is moving through the area, and it is producing some torrential rain and some very gusty winds. Again, the northern part of this storm here, this is going to be just north and east of Maiden Creek. If you follow Redding, north of Redding, by the way, Redding right now, you have a very strong thunderstorm, but it is not tornadic, at least this cell here. You follow 222 all the way up, and this is where we're going to see the potential here for the tornado. What I'm going to do is also put the velocity part of this system on here. What the velocity does is shows us winds going toward or away from the radar. What I'm going to do here on this velocity is I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of the tornado velocity, the winds toward and away, out of the way, so you can kind of see. And basically the best chance for us to get in on any real rotation with this would be anywhere along 22 right there by Kutztown. And again, this is going to be moving to the north and to the east rather quickly. We of course have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect. This is until 11 p.m. and this is really covering the entire area. Most, if not all of us right now are experiencing some very hot and humid conditions, and of course really ripe conditions for us to get in on the warning. Right now, this is going to be just south of 78. There's 78 here just to the north there, and then you have areas near Kutztown. Now, as this continues to move to the north and the east, I want to give you a heads up to Allentown. Allentown right now, we have Berks and Lehigh County underneath this tornado warning. Allentown just on the western edge of you, we have the potential for this to come in your direction. Again, what we look for is this little hook here, and it's not the most pronounced, but it's enough that the National Weather Service push the button on us getting a tornado warning. This would be right now just south of 78. There's Leonardsville and just north of Maiden Creek. Right now we've got some drier air kind of working its way in, and then we've got the rain kind of wrapping around. And where you see that little notch right here just north of 222, that's potentially where we have the best chance for us to get in on this tornado. Again, it's the only warning that we have across the area. We have a severe thunderstorm watch across everywhere else through 11 p.m. That means that as this line continues to move closer and closer to us, we could potentially see a few more warnings popping up across the area. But just so you know, right now, there is nothing severe across the Jersey Shore. There is nothing severe across Philadelphia. If you're watching from New Jersey, Philadelphia, or even areas in the Philadelphia metro, keep in mind, we're watching everyone right now in the Philadelphia television market, and we of course cover Lehigh Valley, Berks and Lehigh counties as well. As this line continues to push a little further east, we're going to give a heads up to areas just north of Philadelphia as well. But right now, the one warning that we have is for Berks and Lehigh counties, and not so much for the county or for the city of Redding, where we have a pretty strong thunderstorm, but it's going to be for the one right here, and this is going to be approaching the Kutztown area all the way across 220. Let me step out of the way, kind of show you the view out, and what I'm also going to be doing is giving looking at the National Weather Service. We are in constant contact with them. We have a video right now that is coming in. Some spotters are saying that there is a confirmed funnel over there, but this is the same storm that actually has had a history of producing some funnels near State College. So this is that same system there. That tornado warning will continue. Just coming in right now at 6:21 from the National Weather Service. Tornado warning does continue for Berks and Lehigh counties until 6:45. This is now just about 14 miles west of Allentown. 14 miles west of Allentown. If this continues on that northwest track here, the southern portion of Allentown would also be one of those areas that we're going to have to watch for. So again, if you're anywhere along 222, and there you go, there's a 78 just to the north there, and then right before you get to Allentown, you have 476. This would be the time to get to your shelters. And we've always talked about this. You have to get to the interior portion of your home. You have to get through the lowest floor of your home and make sure that you're away from all windows. Make sure the pets are inside as well. Some people like to have helmets, bicycle helmets by. Again, we want to take these storms very seriously because a little earlier today, as they came in from the west, this is where we saw the potential for a couple of tornadoes. We're talking well to the west of us, Dauphin County as well. And these have had a history of producing a couple of funnel clouds and a couple of tornadoes. Now, make no mistake, this is not going to be the outbreak of 23 here, but we do have the right ingredients, especially just northwest of Philadelphia, to get in on this line of showers and thunderstorms, and again, the potential for some tornadoes. Allentown right now, you need to get to your shelters. Again, I know I have a producer, somebody in my ear. If you can repeat that, I'll make it okay, thank you so much. So we're going to get to the other portions of the area in just a little bit. But for right now, we are going to just stay with you until we can get through this tornado warning. The tornado warning itself, again, it is for Berks and Lehigh counties until 6:45 p.m. and that's going to give us here at the current time it is just about 6:27. So we have about 18 minutes to go to get this warning in. Right now what we're seeing at all levels here is some torrential rain, and I'm going just to contact with the National Weather Service just to make sure that we are all on the same page here. Torrential rain, gusty winds, and by the way, we could also see some small hail with this. Hail with this could potentially be in the upwards of 1 inch or more, which would be about the size of a quarter. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. We have the sweeping radar on right now, and what I'm going to do is take a look at the velocity portion of this storm, and that's going to show us winds going toward and away from the radar. Let me get in a little bit closer right now, and I want to show you exactly where the potential for this tornado is. There's Eagle Point. There's 78 for reference, right? And there's Kutztown, and this is where at first the National Weather Service was talking about the potential of where we're seeing some rotation. Let me show you this. Green on this. Remember, this is the velocity. This is wind going toward the radar. Red going away from the radar. The radar is in that direction. So when you put them up against each other, right here, right along 222, just north of Kutztown, south of Eagle Point, this is the exact location of where the rotation is, where we have an unconfirmed video of a funnel, and where if there is going to be a tornado, it would be right over here, right along Highway 222. So from Eagle Point to Kutztown and anywhere just north and east, and I'm going to put a track on this, this is the time now to get to your shelters. It just updated. So let me go ahead and zoom back out so we can show a couple of those areas that have the best potential here. And I can actually put a track on this. Let me, in fact, instead of putting just a track, let me do a little squall line. This is going to be the area of concern. I'm going to move it to the north and I'm going to move it to the east. If this holds together, this would be in Weisenberg at 6:29, which is just about right now. So Weisenberg, make sure you are in your shelters. In the meantime, Clausville, 6:47. I'm not going over everybody, but you see it all here. Crackersport at around 7:03, 6:56, Ancient Oaks. So all of these areas here that you're looking at, Berks, Lehigh County, that's the tornado warning till 6:45. These are all the areas that you need to right now get to your shelters. Again, we always say we don't want to scare you, we want to prepare you. This is what we prepare you for. It's going to be when we have these warnings. Again, we have that one tornado warning till 6:45 right now, right along Highway 222 south of 78. This will continue to move toward the north and the east at around 30 to 35 miles per hour. It's along a very strong line of thunderstorms thunderstorms. Let me grab my clicker here real quick. Let me bring you back out to the last frame there, and there it is. So there is the area of concern right now. Over the last couple of hours, this is a 3-hour radar loop. You can see that storm right along 78, and then there's 222. Getting a little bit closer, there's the thunderstorm. So all of those cities I just talked about, if you are in those areas, you need to get to your shelters immediately. If you don't have a shelter, if you have a basement, that's the best place to go. And then, of course, we would also need to go to, if you're in Allentown, start thinking about that as well.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Aziza Schuler. We are in breaking weather coverage right now. Let's get right over to meteorologist Andrew Kozak as we are tracking a tornado warning in Berks and Lehigh counties. Andrew.
Thank you so much, Aziza. Yes, we are in the middle of tornado coverage right now. The warning goes until 6:45 for Berks and Lehigh counties. I'm going to walk back over to our wall and show you exactly what's happening right now. If you are in Berks and Lehigh counties, you need to get to your storm shelters immediately. That's either a basement or the lowest level of your house, preferably the first floor, in a bathroom or an interior closet, a place without windows, a place where you can get down and crouch. Protect your head. That's the most important part to protect. Make sure you don't forget the pets. Make sure you go inside, close the door. Right now, let me show you where this warning is. Berks, Lehigh County right now until 6:45. This is a thunderstorm that has had the history of producing some funnel clouds that have been seen from people. We have some video coming into the National Weather Service. We will continue to monitor that. Right now, this is moving to the north and the east pretty quickly at about 35 miles per hour. What I want to do is put a track on this for you and show you exactly where this is going to be going as we take the most likely area of rotation and move it to the north and the east. This will put it in areas like Crackersport at around 6:59. A little earlier, said about 7:03. It's picking up in pace a little bit. South Whitehall at 7:05. Allentown at around 7:14. What we're looking at here is torrential rain, the possibility that outside of any tornadoes, we could have some damaging winds, and we could also be looking at hail to the size of quarters. That's about 1 inch in diameter. Let me go ahead and clear this out, bring you back up to the current time here, and I want to show you the velocity part of the storm. Velocity is going to show us where we have winds going toward and away from the radar. Now, with this particular storm right now, we are looking at, let me put it all velocity back on here. We're looking at in between kind of two areas. Now, it's a little bit weaker, and this is very good news for us because earlier this was pronounced a little bit more. But right now, there's 222. And there's 78. And see a little bit of green here? Green is areas of wind going toward the radar. The radar is south and east. Red is away from the radar. And where you have a little bit of that up against each other is where you potentially would have that rotation. That's where we see it indicated by radar. A lot of times we say radar indicated, right? In order for us to say there's definitely a tornado there, it wouldn't be from this, it would be from confirmation. We haven't seen that just yet, but one of the things we look at is the storm movement. And let me show you how much more intense it looked the last couple of hours. If we go ahead and zoom back out, or even just the last couple of minutes, you can see that it was a little bit more pronounced. You see, as it approached Kutztown, this is where we had right here, a little bit more green. See that? A little bit more pronounced. Now as it moves a little bit closer to 476, it looks like it may be falling apart a little bit. But until the National Weather Service cancels this tornado warning or allows it to expire, we're going to stay with you and be on that as well. So again, right now, Allentown, this is approaching you. I would treat this just as serious if you were even a little closer, because you have about 5 to 8 minutes to go before the heart of this storm starts to move in your direction. So everybody in Allentown watching, make sure you get to your storm shelters, basement, first floor, interior, and away from windows. In the meantime, as we get in a little bit closer, this is the exact area that we're looking at for this. Let me zoom in a little bit more, get a couple towns on there that are, and areas that are a little bit more pronounced right on top of this. And this is going to be between Kutztown, there's Weisenberg, because that was listed as one of those areas on the northern end. Weisenberg right there just north of 78, that would be getting in the path of the possible rotation. The rotation with this is just on the northern side of the storm, so this is going to move across 78. If it continues to move on a northeasterly track here, it would be Low Hill and North Whitehall. That would be next. Again, the storm itself looking like it is still a severe thunderstorm, packing a punch. It is 6:34 right now, so we have about 11 minutes to go until this thing will be either allowed to expire or or to be canceled. But we're going to continue to watch this for you here. Everybody, once again, going to be underneath a severe thunderstorm watch. That is until 11 p.m. tonight. We're going to be looking at all of those storms kind of rolling back in, and I'll go backwards here real quick just to kind of show you the bigger picture. Starting to form a little line now from just north of Allentown back just to the east of Lancaster. Again, there's 176, and then that will be making a beeline for Philadelphia. Philadelphia, you are not in any tornado warnings or any warnings at all. In fact, most of Philadelphia metro area and most of the entire Jersey Shore is looking at clouds and just a couple of areas of some rain. But we don't have any severe weather yet. The ingredients are there. We've had a very ripe, hot, humid afternoon, and as this system approaches, it basically interacts with all of this and starts to form those showers and thunderstorms. The most severe thunderstorms right now on the northern end. Again, the tornado warning for Berks and Lehigh counties until 6:45. We're going to continue to cover this for you. Now we have a brand new tornado warning. Let me go ahead and move out of the way because now the bottom end of that storm that just moved through Reading, has a new tornado warning. Let's cue that out for you. Get all that information on the screen. So for producers and for everybody watching here at the TV station, we're going to stay with you until 7 p.m. now. We have a tornado warning for Berks, Chester, and now Montgomery County with this storm. So you're going to have to allow me to go back so I can zoom in on that one. Again, we're not going to forget about the one on the northern end, but now we have this brand new one. So let's get in here a little bit closer, and I'm going to once again kind of go in here, and I'm going to show you the velocity again, and that velocity is going to show us winds going toward and away from the radar. Now on the northern end of that, there's Robeson, there's 176. You see this right here? This is a the lighter the color is going to be the stronger the wind. So once we continue to get wind like that up against, now it's kind of in between two radars, Robeson, and it's right below the banner there. Let's go ahead and move that. You see there's that area of red right next to it. So this would be the most likely area right now of a tornado. Again, we have a brand new tornado warning. Let me move out of the way. What I want to do, since we're in constant contact and chat with the National Weather Service, I want to make sure that we are not missing any vital information. But this is now a radar indicated tornado warning for both for Berks, for Chester, and Montgomery County till 7 p.m. Right now, a severe thunderstorm that is capable of producing a tornado is just east of Reading, Birdsboro, moving east at around 20 miles per hour. It's not picking up as quickly as steam as the northern end, but Berks, Montgomery now, this is going to be just to the east of Reading. Let me go ahead and just get in a little bit closer and show you some of those areas here that are underneath the warning. Now let me go back to the radar too, because this will give us another area of where we can see this thunderstorm. Again, Forest Court. I want to put this right in motion now. Let's go back into the sweeping. I want to get in the sweeping radar here. There we go. That's a much better view. So let me leave this up here for a second. This would be the most likely storm on this end now. Reading, you are in the clear, although the storm is just past you. You don't want to go outside or anything like that. Lightning can still strike cloud to ground 20 to 25 miles away from a departing storm. And there's not a ton of lightning here, but the best portion of the storm that would likely have rotation is going to be near Birdsboro. So there's Birdsboro right there. I'll go ahead because it's close to the banner. Let me just move that up just a little bit more. So there's Birdsboro right now. We have that right there. There's 345, and there's Copetown. So if you're in the Birdsboro area, now would be the time to get to your shelters. This is moving east at around 20 miles per hour, and that's going to put you right in the path of where potentially a rain-wrapped tornado would be. So if there was a tornado with this storm, looking at this right now, it would be somewhere in between here. There's not a defined notch. There's not a defined hook. This is some rain, and quite a bit of it as well. Torrential heavy rain. It would be located somewhere in that vicinity. There's the big picture. We have a line starting to form now. Let's go back to weather one if we can. So what I'm going to do is you're going to see where this is. Now what I'm going to do is going to put the velocity part of the storm. That's winds going toward and away from the radar. Let's go ahead and get Birdsboro on there and see what we got going. It really is a little bit difficult to see. There's a little bit of faulty data coming out, but I can tell you that just north of Birdsboro, we've got some green. That's wind going toward the radar. And then we have a little bit of red kind of interspersed here, just to the west of 345. So there may be some weak rotation at the upper levels. This isn't screaming that we definitely have a tornado on the ground, but we have to take this seriously. Whenever we have a tornado warning that is issued by the National Weather Service, we have to make sure that we go and do everything that we talk about when we want to prepare you, not scare you. So what I'd like you to do now, if you're in the Birdsboro area, if you're anywhere in these counties, you want to make sure that you are in your basement, the first floor, preferably a place with no windows, an interior closet, a bathroom, and make sure that you are in there secure until we can get this storm out of your way. Let's go back a little bit further. Show you once again. These are the storms that are moving through. We've got one now approaching Allentown. That tornado warning still goes for about 5 minutes. That's for Berks and Lehigh counties. And producers, I know we're all getting caught up. Let's get the new counties on there again. That will, I'll put you on the screen for you. This way you got that all taken care of. The new warning is the southern end of this storm, and that is going to include 3 different counties. Okay, that is going to include Berks, Chester, and Montgomery County. So of course we have the Berks County storm here. That's on the northern end. And then we have Chester and Montgomery counties here. That's going to be for that area that continues to move toward the east. Again, Birdsboro, you're in that as well. All right, let me go ahead. I'm going to pull this out. I've got this my computer here. This might make it a little bit easier as we continue to track some multiple warnings right now. But there's the big picture. We got the radar spinning there in Philadelphia. This line continues to move toward the east pretty quickly. The northern end is moving a little bit further northeast at around 30 to 35 miles per hour. But this particular cell here for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery counties, this one is moving to the east at around 20 miles per hour. Again, let me put that into motion for you right now. And as I do, you can kind of see that and the movement there. So that top end moving a little bit quicker than the bottom. But again, we really need to make sure that we are all prepared if you're in this area. Now, again, you could tell what parts of the counties are underneath the warning. You've got Berks County, Montgomery, and Chester counties here, but it's not the entire county. It's just those areas. It's kind of where all 3 kind of interconnect, and that's where we're really seeing that chance of where the potential tornado would be. Let me focus on the other storm real quick. Let's get you in on that storm that's on the northern end. This is going to be the one that is now moving across 476. Again, this one, I'm going to put the velocity on again and see where we potentially could see a little rotation. And it's not screaming out at me a whole lot, but I will say there is a little rotation here. You got the green. This is all wind going toward the radar, and you got red away from the radar. And it's just now to the south and we'll say mostly east-southeast of Weisenberg right there across 78. That would be the greatest potential of where we could see the potential for a tornado to drop out of this. Again, this is going to be right here across 78. Let's see if I can get any closer in here. Okay, so we actually have it right there. So that's good because we can see a couple of areas. There's Fogelsville, there's Hassville, and just to the south, we'll say, of Seepstown. This is where we're seeing here across 78. So you really need to get to your shelters if you're in this area. This is for the Lehigh and Berks County storm. And again, we'll show you the entire area underneath a severe thunderstorm warning. I do think this will be gradually going toward more severe thunderstorm warnings as we head into the evening. But right now, we have 2 warnings to talk about on the big picture. And in fact, as I keep the warnings up there, you can see this is really it for us across our neck of the woods. There's a severe thunderstorm warning down toward the Baltimore area, but for us, it is going to be the tornado warning. We have it for Berks, and thankfully, we have all of you. Thank you, producers. We have this on the bottom of the screen. Lehigh, Berks, Montgomery, and Chester counties. Berks is technically under 2 warnings, the bottom end and the top end, but that is where we have right now the tornado warning. Let me go ahead and go back on the bottom end of that storm again. Thank you for bearing with me tonight. Again, we are normally in our 6:30 CBS News Philadelphia newscast, but tonight we are taking over in the weather department because we have these 2 tornado warnings. These warnings will go respectively until 6:45 on the northern end, so we only have about a minute and a half. That will be a nice little sigh of relief on that storm. We'll see if that one is going to be allowed to expire or continue. But then this is the storm here for Montgomery, Berks, and Chester counties until 7 p.m. So that one we still have about 16 and a half minutes to go. Originally, just about 5 minutes ago, the center of what the possible rotation could be is near the Birdsboro area, moving east at about 20 miles per hour. Let me move this out of the way. way, let me go ahead and put a track on that for you. I want to give you some areas that really where this would be moving in your direction. And if this does hold together, the worst part of the storm, it doesn't mean a tornado is coming for you. It means the worst part of the storm would be near Amity at around 6:56. It would be near Cider Mill Run at 7 o'clock, Pine Forge at 7:07, and Ironstone at 7:11. That would be that storm there. Again, on the northern end of things, we have the one that is approaching near Allentown, right along 78. You need to make sure you're in your storm shelters as well. Let me get back into these thunderstorms. On the northern one, we don't have much of an update there when it comes to rotation. Let's take a look at the rotation on this storm. Again, this is the Berks, Montgomery, and Chester. And again, I'm not seeing anything too pronounced here. We're really looking for areas of red against green. That would be where we would see the most pronounced. And the most I could see here is still holding back, a few scans back, so this might be a minute or two old, but just to the west of Birdsboro, moving toward the east. But the storm itself is moving east at around 20 miles per hour. If you're in any of these areas, from Birdsboro across 422, Amity, Pine Forge, now would be the time to get to your shelters. I know it's Sunday night. I know it's a holiday weekend. Make sure you got everybody to the lowest level of your home, preferably the basement, if not the first floor. Make sure you close the door. Make sure you get down, crouch down, and protect your head. I know it might seem ridiculous, but in these type of situations, safety, yeah, you can't get any better than that. And you know what? Rather be safe and move out than if worse. Again, we don't have any confirmed tornadoes with this, but this is what we're seeing tonight. Two tornado warnings, two separate tornado warnings. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this up for you right now. I'm going to check the National Weather Service chat because that is the best chance for us to get the latest information. If any storm spotters have seen anything, and sometimes radar indicated is great, but it's better to have some eyes on the ground. And right now, we have a report near Leonardsville. That's going to be on the Berks County storm, the first one. A trained spotter reported a funnel cloud with this storm about 2 miles west of Leonardsville. So we do know that there is a wall cloud and a tornado, or at least a funnel cloud there. A funnel cloud, again, is a tornado that hasn't actually touched the ground just yet. We are going to continue the tornado warning for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery, but the northern storm that was Berks and Lehigh has been canceled. That one is allowed to expire. So that's good news here, at least on this storm now. And because it is just now 6:46, if I pull back out, that northern storm no longer has that red box on it. So a nice collective sigh of relief on the northern storm here. We still have a tornado warning for Berks, Montgomery, and Chester counties, but we took you through this warning, and this one has now been allowed to expire. That is fantastic news. That means what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the map here, and I am going to save this view because we are going to focus on this storm right now. Every time we have a tornado warning, we're going to focus on that one. If we have multiple, we got you as well. All right, so this is the tornado warning now. Berks, Montgomery, and Chester counties. We can just concentrate on this one. This warning goes until 7 p.m. That's about 12 and a half minutes from now. So we will stay with you. That means we're going to be taking over this entire newscast until 7 o'clock. That means that we're going to continue to take you and make sure that you are safe. Right now, the best chance for any rotation would be along 422. Let me get in a little bit closer now, and what I'll do is I'll also save that new view as well. So this is going to give us an opportunity to show you some of your locations within this storm. And while you need to get to shelter immediately because of this tornado warning on a storm that has had a history, by the way, of producing some funnel clouds, and now we have confirmation that a trained spotter has seen funnel clouds with this particular storm. So if you're in Browns Mill, there's some torrential rain right now. Amity would be the best chance for you right now to probably have the worst part of the storm approaching you. You need to make sure that you're in your shelters as well. Ironstone, we've got the leading edge of the heavier rain just about to make its way toward you. And again, Birdsboro right now, it looks like the worst of the storm has passed. It's going to be right here. See that little notch right here? Right here just south of Browns Mill. It's kind of hard to make out, but that little notch could potentially be where we would maybe have some rotation. And the best way to take a look at that is if that spot lines up with our velocity. And you know what? There is a little bit of rotation here. It's not going to be jumping out at us a little bit, but you've got green and you've got red. Green is when going toward the radar. Red, that's when going away from the radar. And when they're up against each other, that in the upper atmosphere causes some rotation. When that rotating column of air touches the ground, that becomes a tornado. Before it does, it's a funnel cloud. And right now, this is where we would most likely see some of that. Earlville, Amity, right there in between. And I believe that is 662 little small there on the type, but yeah, 662. So you want to make sure that you are in your shelters here. Let me take the leading edge of this, and what I could do is go back. Let me go back one to that one again. And yeah, so you see that is kind of like the worst part of the storm right over here. So let's go ahead and take the leading edge of that. Let me zoom out and put a little track on that for you. And that's going to give us approximate times of where the location of the worst part of the storm would be. Again, moving east at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. This would be Cider Mill Run at 6:53. So we're talking about 3.5, 4 minutes from now. Ironstone at 7:04. Colebrookdale at around, Colebrookdale, I should say, at around 7:09. And Inglesville at around 7:12. Again, this is the worst part of the storm that potentially has the rotation. Now, along with this, we also have the possibility for not only torrential flooding rain, but we also have the possibility for some hail. Hail to the size of quarters, that would be about 1 inch in diameter. And on top of that, everybody, as we move into the evening ahead, has the potential for more of these thunderstorms. That's why the National Weather Service has put out a severe thunderstorm watch. That goes until 11 p.m. tonight. And that also means that if you're in Philadelphia, we haven't had our severe thunderstorms yet. We are awaiting this line to build back. Let me move backwards a little bit more and kind of show you this on the map here. You can see this line forming just to the north of Allentown. We have those two severe, or I should say, tornado warned storms. The one now just Berks, Montgomery, and Chester counties. And we're starting to fill back with some thunderstorms just south of 176, moving a little bit closer to the Philadelphia area. But again, the bottom end of this storm, there is no severe weather, at least right now. We're going to keep our eye on it. So if you're in Philadelphia, if you have a barbecue going, you have people over, make sure that you have a plan B ready to go. Don't go inside just yet. You don't have anything severe. And of course, in Jersey, you have plenty of time right now. But we are watching this line. And ahead of the line, we may also have a couple of storms. We're going to watch those. But right now, our focus is on the people that have the best chance of any property in danger. Of course, any life threatened, that would be with the tornado warned storm. The northern end of that storm there, approaching Allentown, you are okay right now. There is no new tornado warning, but there is the tornado warning now for Berks, Montgomery, and Chester counties. This is going to include areas like Amity, Earlville, Browns Mill, and then basically, if you're in this line just to the west of Amity, this is pretty much okay at this point. I think for the most part, it's going to be this really strong, most severe part of the storm right there where you see the 662 marker. That's going to be where we're most likely going to be looking at the rotation with this. It would be rain wrapped, which means that we don't see this big hook that would give us that opportunity to have a tornado very, very visible. It would be maybe in the middle of all of this rain, and then that would be moving toward the Ironstone area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of reset this a little bit. I want to take this view. I want to bring it down a little bit more, and I want to keep it up there for you. I'm going to go ahead once again, as I do, and take a look at that service chat. I want to make sure once again that we haven't had any confirmations. And if you're just joining us, first of all, thank you for your patience tonight as we protect those from tornado warnings in the area just north and west of the Philadelphia area. Remember, we cover Philadelphia, we cover most, if not all, of central and southern New Jersey, and then we also include the Lehigh Valley and up toward the Pocono. So when you have a tornado warning in any area, we make sure that we are here covering it and keeping you guys safe. As of the latest time I have checked here, the tornado does continue warning now, and that is going to be for Berks, Chester, Montgomery counties. Earlier again, we had a funnel cloud reported by a train spotter just west of Leonardsville, and that was on the northern storm. This southern storm here, which is warned for Chester, Montgomery, and Berks County, continues to 7 p.m. I don't have any confirmation on this, but until the warning is allowed to expire in about 7 minutes, or get canceled a little early, we are going to stay with you tonight, protecting you, keeping you safe, especially because this is a holiday weekend. There's so many people gathered in groups, so we want to make sure you're safe because a lot of folks may not be close to a TV or close to a radio, and maybe some of you saw the warning pop up on your phone, so now you turned on us, and of course this is what we're doing here. We're trying to protect you guys from the elements out there on this Sunday. So right now we have the best chance for rotation just north of Amity, south of Earlville, moving toward the Ironstone area. Let's go check that velocity again because it's been a couple of scans, and there we go. I do think that if we do have a chance for some rotation, it's going to be anywhere between Earlville and Amity right there, and then just to the south. Now, Birdsboro, this is where the original warned storm started moving in your direction, but now we're seeing it here. Just along, let me get the highway marker on there as well. I believe that's 422. Okay. Yeah, it's 422. So really, honestly, right here would be the best area of rotation at this point. Somewhere between 422 and just to the north, there's Browns Mill, there's Earlville. So at this point, Amity, you are in direct path of the best rotation. It doesn't mean there's a tornado coming for you, but it does mean that if this storm drops a tornado, this would be the best location for it to happen. So if you're in Amity right now, I need you to get inside to your shelters. If you're obviously inside now, get to the lowest floor of your home. Make sure that you are either in a basement. If you have a storm shelter, that's the best place. But if you don't have a basement or a shelter, the first floor of your home, away from windows, whether it's an interior closet or a bathroom, preferably with no windows. You want to make sure to crouch down. You want to make sure to cover your head. Some people keep bicycle helmets nearby. When I used to live in the Midwest, that's what people did. It's a safety thing, and it's a great thing because you need to protect your head in case anything comes flying through. But this would be the best area of rotation right now, just north of 422. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually zoom out of this, and we don't just have to put radar in motion. We could actually put the velocity in motion here. So let's go ahead and put a movement on that for you. I'm going to put that in constant rotation here. So green is toward the radar, right? Red is away from the radar. And if you look at this right there, yeah, you see that? It's like staying, when those same blocks or little rectangles stay together, that's where we're looking at rotation. If there was a tornado, it would be right across here, just south of Amity. Again, this whole thing would be moving toward the east at around 20 to 25 miles per hour. Time now is 6:55. If this continues, this tornado warning, we will stay with you. If it does not, we will continue to go back to our regular programming at 7 p.m. After our newscast would normally end at 7 p.m. But we're going to stay with you right now. This tornado warning for Berks, Montgomery, and Chester counties does continue now until 7 p.m. So there's the larger view. Right now, we are going to go to Allentown, and then we're going to go down toward this storm here near Amity. This storm was originally warned as a tornado warning. It has now been allowed to expire as of just about 10-15 minutes ago. This storm here, this bottom end, this is the storm that still continually has that tornado warning again. It's Berks, Montgomery, and Chester counties. And just in case we got this extended, but it's not, as you can see there, till 7 o'clock. Now, if you're watching Prepping for 60 Minutes, we are now going to have that go on the CW. That will start at 7 o'clock. Thank you guys so much. That will be WPSG channel 57. That's your 60 Minutes. We'll have that simulcast there. Of course, we're going to stay with you right now until 7 o'clock so we can continually watch this tornado warning. But again, just quickly, 60 Minutes will start in about 3 minutes on CBS. It'll be on the CW station there. Okay, thank you so much. All right, so now as we go back to the larger picture, we have those two really strong storms, the one in Allentown and the one here just south. This one, Montgomery, Berks, Chester counties until 7 p.m. What we talked about here is the potential for rotation. Amity, this would be the best area of concern right now, the highest area of rotation. I haven't put a fresh track on the radar, so let's go do that really quick. We'll zoom back out. We'll put the track here on where that rotation was going east at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Amity 657, that's right now. You need to be in your shelters. Heads up, Cider Mill Run. If you're in the Cider Mill Run area, you need to get to your shelters now. Pine Forge, start getting the troops together, the kids, the dog. Make sure you're in that shelter. The cat, don't want to forget them either. Ironstone 712 and Colebrookdale around 717. Again, all of this along a thunderstorm that has had a history of producing a funnel cloud. Now, we had that a little earlier today. We haven't had any confirmed tornadoes just yet. And of course, the National Weather Service will go out tomorrow if anything does happen. But this is where we have that severe thunderstorm warning right now, all the way through 7 p.m. Now, I believe something else just popped up on here. So this might be the newer one. So let's go ahead and zoom back out. And yeah, so this storm is something we're going to stay with you on. It is the only warned storm in the area, but it is a brand new one. So let me give you this on the screen so the producers know and so that you know at home. This brand new tornado warning is for Berks, Chester, Montgomery County, a different part of the county now that the storm has shifted to the east, until 7:30. So we're going to stay with you until now 7:30. That's going to be now for this exact same storm for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery County until 7:30. What does this mean? It means that this storm here is potentially going to continue to show signs of rotation, show that we potentially have a tornado all the way through 7:30 right now. So this box will probably disappear off the screen likely here within the next minute or so, and then we'll be left with the new updated one. But it is the same counties, now just the eastern part of those counties for Berks, Montgomery, and Chester County until 7:30. All right, so let me go ahead, zoom back out a little bit. Let me walk back out, leave this on the map for you. You've got the counties there on the bottom of your screen, so you're taken care of while I go off camera and make sure we haven't had any confirmation. That tornado warning now until 7:30 does include Berks, Chester, and Montgomery County. This is going to be now near the Cedarville area is going to be the most likely opportunity for us to get in on rotation. So if you are just coming to watch 60 Minutes, just know that you will not miss it. You can go over to channel 57, that is the CW-WPSG, and we will have 60 Minutes on there. But for everybody here watching CBS News Philadelphia, we are now going to flip over and stay on this tornado warning coverage. There's that tornado warning that just popped off. The new one stays until 7:30 for Berks, Montgomery, and Chester County. So 60 Minutes, CW, Channel 57. For everybody else, especially if you're in this area or if you have friends and family in this area, we're going to stay with you until we get this out of the way, and this way you are safe and protected when you know about this. So let's go ahead and get in a little bit closer. This tornado warning does include those three counties. It is the same. It's not a new one as far as a new cell. This is the same exact cell we were looking at a little earlier right now. I want to show you those areas. There's Earlville, there's Amity, there's Pine Forge, and this area here, this tornado warned storm continues to move toward areas just north of Pottstown. This is going to be near Potts Grove. Let me move back out a little bit more. And you can see I'm looking at all these areas there. There's Greshville, there's Boyertown. On the northern end of this storm, you are on okay right now. But this is going to be basically, as we get in a little bit closer, this is basically going to be the area of biggest concern. And that's going to be basically where just east of Amity and west of Pine Forge. Let me go ahead and draw where I think would be a likely scenario of where we probably have the best rotation, and that would be that area that I outlined right here. It's the strongest, most severe part of the storm, and it's more likely where we have a little bit of that wind coming in. See, there's a very small notch near the upper Glasgow area. That would be wind coming in this way, and then the rain wrapping around this way. And of course, the best way for us to go ahead and take a look at where the potential rotation would be is also to take a look at our velocity product, and that is wind going toward and wind going away from the radar. And it's set up pretty simple, where we would basically be looking at red against green, right? Red against green. So green is going toward the radar, red is going a little bit further away from the radar. Let me go ahead and move this if I can. Not sure if I have this on here. What I could do is, let's go ahead and camera tool. Let's go ahead and make sure we have this on the pan, since we want to pan everything out. So let's go ahead and do that. And that's going to give me an opportunity to kind of zoom in over here. Okay, so thank you guys. So what we're seeing here is 462. There's a little bit of green against red right near Pine Forge. So there's some larger scale rotation over here, but this would be the general area where the tornado, if there was one, where the best chances of the funnel cloud would form, where the best chances of rotation would be. And mainly right now on and along 662. And then just to the north of 422. So that's really what we're seeing here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to zoom this out, because you can actually see in the velocity the last couple of scans on this where the potential tornado would be. If you have an area of green against red, and again, wind's going toward and away from the radar, that means rotation, and it's staying, then you can kind of see exactly where the possible rotation would be. So there's Amity right now. Amity, I'm going to tell you this, if you aren't in your storm shelters, you need to get to it right now, because that's where the potential rotation on this tornado would be. And then as you can see, moving to the east right now, Upper Pottsgrove. If you're in the Upper Pottsgrove area, if you're just north of Pottstown, heck, if you're in Pottstown, just take a precaution right now, because these things can shift a little bit. Make sure you are in your shelters right now. Again, we're also letting you know, if you're here to watch 60 Minutes, you won't miss it. It is on the CW, WPSG, and we'll continue to keep you updated here through this tornado warning on CBS News Philadelphia. All right, so right now the time is 7:03. This tornado warning goes until 7:30. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit and show you what we're looking at here as we continue to put this in motion. The northern edge of the storm, if you're watching from Allentown, That storm was a tornado warning storm, but now it is not. It is a strong storm with minimal lightning, some very heavy rain, and maybe some small pea to marble sized hail and around 40 to 45 mile per hour winds. But it's the bottom edge of this storm, the Berks, Montgomery, and Chester County storm that goes until 7:30 that we are staying for you. Again, this is where we have the potential right now, the greatest potential for severe weather. As this continues to move toward the east at around 20 to 25 miles per hour, we're looking at areas just north of Pottstown right now that are underneath where we could potentially see the rotation. It would be right over here. There's Pottstown. Let me get in a little bit closer. We showed you a closer view earlier of where the potential rotation would be. And there it is. There's Upper Pottsgrove. There's Upper Glasgow. And then let's go ahead and put that velocity product on there again. And that may show us where you have a little bit of rotation. And see, it's kind of looks like it's kind of approaching that area there. We've got the brighter red right where it says Upper Glasgow, that brighter red right there. That's the strongest wind. The brighter the red, the stronger the wind. We have that going against wind away from or toward the radar, which is in the green. And that's where we have the potential for some rotation. So this is going to be the area anywhere across 100 from Upper Pottsgrove down to Upper Glasgow and all the way down toward Pottsgrove. You really need to make sure right now that you are in either a shelter or a basement, and if you don't have a basement, a first floor of your home. And that's going to be a bathroom or an interior closet. You want to make sure to get down. You want to make sure to protect your head. Sometimes people go into a bathtub if it's a bathroom. Sometimes people grab a mattress, just anything to protect your head, because that's where the injuries and the worst case scenarios happen when we're looking at any tornado warned storm. Away from windows, away from doors, away from any entrances or exits to outside. Again, these storms have a history of producing funnel clouds this afternoon and this now evening. So we want to make sure that you guys are safe. And again, if you want to watch 60 Minutes, that's going to be on the CW. That goes right now on channel 57, WPSG. So you're not missing any normal, regularly scheduled programming here on CBS3. We're just using the power of having 2 TV channels to help you out. So 60 Minutes over on channel 57. Tornado coverage here on Channel 3. And that will continue until we get through this tornado warning, which will be until 7:30. So Berks, Montgomery, Chester counties. And I'm seeing a little bit of green against red just south of Upper Glasgow, just north now of West Pottsgrove. So again, any of these areas are fair game for a little bit of rotation. Let me go ahead and put this on a scale. So we go back at the last, what is this now? About 45 minutes or so, and you can kind of see green against red, and see it's not just scattered and random, it's kind of the same general areas getting that. So that would be the best area of rotation. Now, I have seen in my time bright green against bright red. This is not that. This is definitely not a large tornado, but it is an indication that there is rotation, and this storm has the potential to give us a funnel cloud, which it already has, or a tornado. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and check the next weather chat. In the meantime, let's go ahead and put Weather 2 back up behind me as I do that. And then if you can give me a quick, who is just in my ear now, give me that information one more time. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have a new tornado warning in Lancaster County. I'm going to go ahead and show you that one. Thank you guys so much for that. I appreciate that. Every time we're really close in on a storm and then they issue a new warning, well, that's going to be one of those things where we'll have to zoom back out. So let me go and do that right now and zoom back out. Let's put the warnings on there for you, and let's see where we're at right now when it comes to those tornado warnings. So you can see that behind me as I zoom out here. Okay, so now we have a new tornado warning there. Let's go ahead and put that up on the screen for you. That's going to be for Chester County. Now, a tornado warning for Chester County until 7:30 and Lancaster County till 7:30. So that Chester County one has just come in. Oh, hey, all right. So this is a new one as well, guys. The Berks, Chester, and Montgomery County storm that I was just talking about, that tornado warning now has now expired and canceled. So that was supposed to be until 7:30. That tornado warning for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery, that was the northern part, the one near Pottstown. Remember, I just said a couple minutes ago, I've seen really bright green against really bright red. This is not that. Well, they also at the National Weather Service are convinced that we could stand down on that tornado warning. So we are going to stand down on the northern Berks, Chester, Montgomery, but we are going now on a brand new tornado warning. Let's go ahead and I'll tell you what, let me go regroup this real quick. And let's go ahead and go full screen on Max 1 as I walk over to the wall. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Okay, so this is turning into a busy night now on the south end. So if you're just joining us, meteorologist Andrew Kozak here as we continue to track what is turning into a very busy night here across much of the Delaware Valley area. We are going to let you know first and foremost we have a brand new tornado warning. This is going to now go for Lancaster and Chester counties until 7:30. We also want to let you know that if you're here for 60 minutes you will not miss it. It is over on channel 57, the CW-WPSG. We will have that on there for you to watch. But if you are interested in the tornado coverage that we have going on, we have a tornado warning. That means lives, property in the path of storms that have a history this afternoon and now evening of producing funnel clouds and even tornadoes. So let's go ahead first and foremost. I want to put I like to start first querying this out, give you an idea of what we're looking at. First tornado warning for Chester County till 7:30. Second warning, same storm, just different county, until 7:30 for Lancaster. This is moving to the east right now. So let's go take that off. Let's go ahead, clear that out. And most importantly, let's go put a track, before we put a track on that, let's go show you where this is moving very quickly right now. And you can almost see it looks like two cells kind of converging a little bit. I do want to take a couple of, I have several different radars on, and thank you guys for staying with me here as we continue to kind of show you everything all at once. So I'm going to leave only one, let me bring it to the current time. It's multiple radars showing the same thing. So what we want to do is take off some of the radars here. We want to leave that one on. Take that one off. And do we want to leave? No, we're going to take Philadelphia off. So we're just going to leave that one on, and we're going to take the big radar off, and then we're going to save this. Kind of see the how the sausage is made here. But this is the storm right now that is being warned. This is going to be for Chester County and Lancaster County, both until 7:30. This right now indicating a little bit more lightning than some of these other storms. A little bit more lightning there. We also have near Coleraine, south of Salisbury, and over toward West Fallowfield. This storm moving to the east at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and zoom back out. Let me put this into motion for you once again. It's moving rather quickly. It may be picking up a little bit of speed as well. At this point, if you're in Coleraine, if you're on West Fallowfield, and most likely the trajectory here would take you a little closer to London Grove, this would be the time to get to your shelters. I've been doing this all evening, but not everybody's watching the entire time. People are joining, people are leaving. So if you're just joining Chester, Lancaster counties till 7:30, you have a tornado warning through a bunch of storms today that have had a history of producing funnel clouds and even some unconfirmed tornadoes. So this means right now, it's not a time to panic. It is just a time to follow the right rules during these type of situations. So get to your basement, get to the first floor if you don't have a basement. Make sure you get down, you cover your head. You want to be in the first floor in a bathroom or an interior closet, a place with no windows. Make sure that you are going to basically want to stay until this thing is out of your way. I'm going to go ahead, stop this for you. If you go, once again, can go on my ear and let me know what you just said. Okay, thank you so much. So we're going to go up to the current time here, and it looks like we may potentially have another warning here. What I am seeing right now is, well, we may have a new one that may have popped up. That's still Chester. That is still Lancaster County right there. I do not have any other, some very heavy rain up toward Pottstown, but for right now, the only two warnings that I have on my screen in this area is Lancaster and Chester counties until 7:30. And just to make sure, since we've had all these storms with the potential of producing severe weather and tornadoes, I do want to check this once again. And right now, the tornado warning earlier that was canceled for Berks, Chester, and Montgomery stays canceled. The tornado warning for Chester and Lancaster, that is the only warning. But somebody here, one of the directors was saying, check Montgomery. Thank you. Because that's our good thing. We need to have multiple eyes on here tonight, so appreciate it. And of course, appreciate you guys staying with us tonight as we cover these tornado warnings as well. Right now, the only tornado warnings, Chester and Lancaster County until 7:30. Time now is 7:13, so we will stay with you for at least the next 17 minutes or until this is allowed to expire. One of the things I want to do is I want to get in here because it's one thing to talk about where it is, but it's also another thing to talk about where it's going. So first, I'm going to go ahead and put this on a loop for you, just to show you some of those areas that are in, you got Lancaster, you have Chester, there's Route 1, And right now it would be areas north of New London, and really basically as Route 1 kind of goes and curves over to the east, this is where we really want to make sure that you are in your shelters and away from windows, first floor, as I mentioned. Let's bring you up to the current time now. Let's go ahead and bring you a little bit closer, and I'm going to go put a track on it for you, taking it to the east there about 20 to 25 miles per hour. That means Homeville at 7:19. So that's about 5.5 minutes from now. We got Fags Manor at around 7:36, and we got London Grove, which I just talked about a little earlier, at 7:57 p.m. So again, these are the areas that are in the path of the worst of this storm. This tornado warning goes until 7:30. Real quick programming note. Again, you may have gone in a little bit late. CW, Channel 57, WPSG, that has 60 minutes. If you are looking for 60 minutes, that's where 60 minutes will be airing as we speak. In the meantime, for Chester and Lancaster counties, we're going to just continue this until you guys are safe and out of the way of this tornado warning. We will stay with you. And if it is allowed to expire, great. Then we will go back to regular programming. If not, we're going to stay with you all night long. In the meantime, what I want to do is also take a look at the wind. If you've been watching for a while, I've been showing you the wind or the velocity. That is wind going toward and away from the radar right now. And I got to tell you, there's a little bit more of a pronounced, perhaps the most pronounced signature I've seen. This is Coleraine right here. This is this area just to the west of Homeville. And right now we have green against red. Before I go and demonstrate, let me just move this up just a little bit so it is away there. Okay, so this is the part of the storm that has green, which is wind going toward the radar, against red, which is wind going away from the radar. You get that all together up against each other, and we're talking about where the possibility of rotation would be. Now, this is a very rural area, but it is also going to impact people that are out there. So if you are anywhere between Coleraine, there's 472, and there's Homeville, I believe that is 896 there. This is where you want to make sure that you are in your shelters. And if I take this and I put this on an area where we can get this moving, then you can kind of see where the trajectory of it will be. So it's a different view than just showing you the radar, right? This is a view showing you more of where the rotation would be. And at this point, if you're in Upper Oxford, you need to make sure that you are in your shelters right now. Upper Oxford, Lower Oxford, over toward the Russellville area. This may go just to the south of you, but sometimes these things can change course a little bit or go a little bit further east or a little bit further south. And this is what we're looking right now. So once again, the trajectory of rotation on this is going to be about 5 or 6 miles southeast of Coleraine, moving to the south and east at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Lower Oxford, get to your shelters. Russellville, get to your shelters. If you are along Route 1 right there, this is where you need to make sure that you are safe. Basement, first floor, into your space, bathroom, closet. Make sure you get down. I do this all the time just because not everybody's watching the entire time. Make sure you protect your head, crouch down, family, dog in there, let it pass, and then you'll be okay. Better to be safe than sorry. Again, we are going to stay with you. 60 Minutes is going on CW. It started at 7 o'clock. That's where it is. Channel 57, WPSG. Just quick programming note. It says it right there on the screen. In the meantime, Chester, Lancaster counties until 7:30. Chester County, this is where we're going to be looking at this moving to the east anywhere between 20 and 25 miles per hour. Let me do something a little different. Let me take this, put it into the now. That's the time right now. And let's go ahead and take this and move, put a little track on this for you. This would be the center of where we're seeing rotation. Rotation doesn't mean we have a tornado. Rotation, green against red, means that exactly that. There's rotation in the upper atmosphere, and the most likely scenario would be that we could potentially see a tornado with this. So if we take the center of rotation and move it in the same trajectory, that means it's going to be in the Upper Oxford area at 7:29. So that's about 12 minutes from now. Russellville, 7:32. Jennersville at 7:48. Again, Jennersville, you got some time. Keep it here, and we're going to continue to track this for you. But I'd say those two other areas, Upper Oxford and Russellville, this would be the time right now to seek shelter immediately. These storms have had a history today of producing funnel clouds, some torrential rain, and even some winds gusting over 50 miles per hour. All right, so let's put, Director, let's put Max 2 up full screen as I go over and check the chat with the National Weather Service if we can. I want to make sure what we have going here is up to the date, up to the minute. I'm going to check Montgomery County again as well. Right now, that tornado warning still is going until 7:30. Let's go ahead and continue to to look at this. The Pottstown area right now, we are still looking at Pottstown. This is what they're in my area, in my ear with. We had a tornado warning there earlier. That has been canceled, and I don't have any new information out of Pottstown other than that we have had a strong to severe thunderstorm, a tornado warned storm a little while ago. But again, Chester, Montgomery, Chester and Lancaster counties until 7:30. So you guys, let me know what you're seeing. I know we're hearing some stuff out of the north, but again, bringing you up to the current time here, I don't have any other warnings. There's the Pottstown area. There's Montgomery County. I don't see any other warnings on the map. The only thing that we're going to be covering right now is the storm that is producing the tornado warning again for Chester and for Lancaster counties. But I appreciate it. We got multiple eyes, multiple ears here at CBS News Philadelphia looking at all the information. And right now, what we're seeing are a very broken line of storms approaching the area to the east. In fact, now that I got Philadelphia on the map for you, let's go ahead and just put that into play for you. So you can see that earlier today we had these storms that moved through just to the west of Allentown. These northern storms that we were just talking about, Montgomery County over toward the northern part of Berks County, these two cells did have tornado warnings on them, and we even had an unconfirmed or a confirmed report of a funnel cloud. No tornado just yet on those. Now the warning that we're looking at is going to be for Lancaster and also toward Chester County. Although truth be told, Lancaster probably will be allowed to expire, maybe even be canceled, just because the bulk of this storm is now moving out of Lancaster County and moving toward Chester County. So let's get in a little bit closer. Let me bring you up to the current speed. Let's show you what's happening right now. This is what we're looking at, a very small but powerful cell that is now moving a little bit closer to the upper Oxford area. There's Fags Manor, and we continue to look at it now moving toward the east-southeast at around 20 to 25 miles per hour. What I look for when we're talking about tornadoes is I look for the velocity, and the velocity is wind going toward and wind going away from the radar. Now we have several different velocities to look at. Man, there is a lot of wind. Look at the wind up here. I could probably look at it going, 62 mile per hour winds at a little higher level. That's gate to gate shear. What that basically means here is that we're looking at winds a little further up in the atmosphere going toward the radar at 62 miles per hour. And then we go ahead and we look at the other products here on the velocity. And what we want to find is red against green. This is a good showing of it. Now these are different radars showing us different, their beams go up in the air, so it's going to be different levels of the atmosphere. But the best area right now of rotation would be between upper Oxford and lower Oxford. If I use a different radar, I believe the State College one, I'm sorry, the Philadelphia one, you could kind of see that too. So that is at a different angle because Philadelphia is a little bit further away, but you're still seeing some red against green. It's a little bit more convoluted with the purples out there, but we're looking at the same basic area of potential rotation. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out. Let me put the other one on there. It's a little bit cleaner looking here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and have that move the last couple of frames. And you can see it's pretty consistent. The storm started to get warned when it was near Coleraine. Now it's moving to the south and the east. So if you're in lower Oxford, and we talked about Route 1 right there, that highway, you'll want to make sure you're in your shelters right now. This storm is moving toward you very, very quickly. If I even put it into the latest scan and then put the track on it for you, that's going to take it into lower Oxford most likely within the next 3 to 4 minutes. Then Hayesville at 7:27, and if it holds together, Elkview at 7:42. So that's where we are tonight. Let me just regroup real quick. We're going to be looking at these areas on the northern end of the storm, Allentown, back toward lower Salford. This was the Berks, Montgomery County storm. No longer severe, at least right now, no longer tornadic. But on the higher end of things here, this is the storm right now, basically across Chester County, Lancaster County, still till 7:30, but I would expect that probably will be canceled here very, very shortly. All right, bring you up to the current speed. Let's get you back down to that storm now. that is going to be across those areas. Let's get in on that storm. Again, that is going to be the one tornado warning that we have right here until 7:30. That's going to be for Lancaster and mostly Chester County at this point. While I walk over and check in some fresh information in the National Weather Service, let me once again remind you that if you're here for 60 minutes, we are showing that now on the CW. That is going to be on channel 57 WPSG. So we are going to continue the tornado warning for Chester County until 7:30. I believe the Lancaster County, the part of the storm that Lancaster County is kind of moving out right now. This is located potentially, if there's a tornado here, near Homeville or 15 miles northwest of Newark, Delaware. So let's go back and kind of regroup a little bit here. Let me show you that again. We saw that where the latest information is. So this is now no longer Lancaster. That has been allowed to expire. But now we're going to be looking at it 15 miles northwest of Newark. So there's Newark. You can see it there. Or maybe you can't because I'm in the way. But there's Newark right there. So we're looking at 15 miles northwest of Newark, Delaware. This is where we're looking at the tornado warning for Chester County. And this again goes until 7:30. Now, this hasn't shown a whole lot of weakness with it, so I would bet that at this point we're most likely going to see this continue a little bit further on. Let me get a couple more of those areas in here. So there's Russellville right now. If you're in the Russellville area, this is going to be just a little bit northwest of Route 1. Russellville, Upper Oxford, and right now this is going to be across, 926, and there's Fags Manor. Please make sure that you are in your shelters. This is going to be the strongest, most severe part of the thunderstorm. And if I go ahead and I put the velocity back on this is wind going toward and away from the radar. Let's go ahead and zoom back out a little bit more. You can see an area here where we potentially have some rotation. And it has been with us now through this storm since it was warned, and that was just about 20 to 25 minutes ago. So right now, Upper Oxford, here's Highway 10, here's Route 1. This right now is moving in the area southeast at around 20 to 25 miles per hour. This would be most likely where the rotation is on this thunderstorm. And if it is producing a tornado, this is the most likely scenario. It would be right here, right along 10, just near Upper Oxford. So right now, that's where you need to be, is your shelters if you are in this area. Let's go ahead. I want to once again put this in play for you and show you why this is so pronounced. We look for green, we look for red. On this product, this is taking the storm and showing us the movement. And when the beam goes up, green represents air going toward the radar, and red represents everything going away from the radar, toward and away. And when they're right up against each other, that's where you have rotation. So that tonight, my friends, is where we're seeing the most likely scenario. This doesn't mean that there's a 100% chance of a tornado. What it means is that the storm is rotating in the upper levels, and when that rotation column of air reaches the ground, it becomes a tornado. So this is a very severe thunderstorm just for the fact that it has rotation on it. And if we're looking at it right here, where it would be between Lower Oxford and Russellville, moving east-southeast at around 20 to 25 miles per hour. So that's the picture there. Again, Lancaster, most likely we are done with you, but it is now Chester County that we have. Chester County. Now, what we want to do is we want to get back down. We have a brand new tornado. Well, let's go back, if you guys can, to Max 2. I believe that is on the larger picture. And as I do that, I also understand that we have we may have some updated information here in just a second. But let's go ahead. We have a brand new tornado warning. Now, this will be for Chester County. So the top end of that storm I was just covering has expired, and now what they're doing is they're reissuing the tornado warning for Chester County until 8 o'clock. I just showed you Oxford, right? That's where this possible tornado would be, 14 miles northwest of Newark, moving east at around 20 miles per hour. So Oxford right now, you need to get to your shelters. And I believe we have that up on the screen. So let me walk back over. Let me show you the brand new warning. This is, again, we have one warning right now in the area, and that's going to be for Chester County until 8 p.m. So that is now replacing the old warning that included Lancaster, because this is the same storm, but now it's just obviously moved a little bit further. So there's Lower Oxford right now. The rotation on this, now we showed you Upper Oxford, Russellville, This is exactly where that rotation is. It's going to be near Russellville, moving east at around 20 miles per hour. That's the tornado warning right now. If you're in this area, you need to get to shelter immediately. Chief Meteorologist Bill Kelly is actually on the line. He joins us by phone. And Bill, it may be a little tough to hear you, but what could you tell us now from the ground?
Do I have to do anything more?
Okay, we're gonna try him again in just a little bit. In the meantime, what we're gonna do, we do have Bill. Should we try Bill again? Let me know. We'll try Bill again. Okay, we're gonna try him again. It's okay. Look, live television, right? So let's talk about this. Russellville, Lower Oxford, Oxford right here. Now we also have a little bit of a notch. See Elkville right here? When we see these little notches, that's warm, dry air kind of being sucked into the storm, and then you've got the rain kind of wrapping around it. So let's go ahead and put the velocity on it for you right now. That's going to give us the best opportunity to see where we have rotation. And I got to tell you, all of the products that we're looking at, out of all our different radars, are showing the same area where we could potentially have some rotation. And that's going to be just now, just slightly south and east of Upper Oxford, Lower Oxford right here. And this is going to be a long one, Russellville. You need to get to your shelters immediately. If you are in this area, I want to go ahead and take this and kind of just move it a little bit further north, and then that'll give us a little bit of an idea of where we're seeing the best chances here of where the rotation is. You can make out, if there is a tornado with this storm, you can make out where it is. There's Coleraine. When the storm first started getting warned, and it included Lancaster County, you can see, look at where a little bit of that red is and against the green. You see it right there? Let me do that again. Right there through Hayesville. So let's also, if there's anybody in the newsroom, let's give Hayesville Emergency Management a call too. Let's see if anybody there has seen anything. I haven't had anything come up just yet. Officially, take some time. The storm is still being warm. But this is going to be an area of concern along Highway 1. If you're in New London, we're going to put a track on it for you, and we want to make sure that you are safe. But before we do that, let's talk to Chief Meteorologist Bill Kelly, who joins us by phone. Good evening, Bill.
So keep going.
Okay, we're going to go back to Bill in just a second. We're obviously having a little bit of technical difficulty out there. Not a problem. This is the most important thing right now, making sure you guys are safe, making sure that we are back to seeing what we're looking at when it comes to the tornado warning. Again, really quickly, if you're looking for 60 minutes, that is on the CW. We have moved that to the CW, channel 57, WPSG. You're not going to miss anything of it. Obviously, it's 7:30 right now. It would be in the middle of it. If that's what you're looking for, that's where it is. But if you're in Chester County, and if you're in any of these areas that are looking at thunderstorms, and if you're just curious to see what's going on, we have a tornado warning for Chester County until 8 o'clock now. It is the same warned storm that was affecting Lancaster and Chester counties, and now what we're seeing is the bottom end of this really starting to develop. It has not weakened much, and I'm going to stay with you until we can get this through. So right now, this is the same storm that is moving through the area of Russellville and Oxford. And man, I really hope that if you were watching earlier, we gave you enough time to get to your shelters and make sure that you are out of harm's way, because this storm not only is not weakening, but it has a pronounced area of rotation. And what that means is that in order for a tornado to form from these thunderstorms, you need upper level rotation. And when you have that, that's when you have a tornado. It's a rotating column of air. When it touches the ground, that's when it's known as a tornado. But what we look for here is the most really impactful part of the storm. That's going to be the darker reds and even the little white that you see there. And then what we're looking for is the velocity. Now, let me go ahead and let's go ahead and take that radar off. Let's go ahead, just keep the sweeping radar on here. That's going to be our local radars. And let's go ahead and put the velocity on it again. That's going to also show us the part of the storm that has the best area of rotation. And with this, let's go ahead and put it all on here. With this, it's still pretty pronounced. Let's go ahead and put this into motion for you. I can show you right now that it is approaching areas like New London. You see, you look for green against red and see how that's it looks like it's fallen apart a little bit. It may not be as pronounced as it was, but it's still there. And the National Weather Service has seen this. They look at everything while we're on TV. And basically, New London, you're going to be in the path of the rotation of this as it continues to move east, a little bit more southeast now than it did before. So let's go once again and kind of put the product on there for you. Let me look at a different radar. This is going to be one out of Philadelphia. This is the one that a little earlier we tracked from Coleraine, and you can kind of see where that is. Follow it. That's the rotation there. It's the red against the green. And if you put that into play, New London, you are next for the most severe part of this thunderstorm. It's time now to get to your shelters. And what I mean by that is a basement. If you don't have a basement, a first floor, the interior, we're talking a bathroom, we're talking a closet. You want to make sure to crouch down, protect your head, and make sure the pets are in as well. Some people leave helmets out there just in case you could put that on. If a tornado comes through, your head is the most important thing to protect on your body. So that's where we have the rotation now, part of this thunderstorm near New London. I'm going to go back out and put this back into our sweep. That's going to give us the opportunity to show you the radar portion of this storm. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and show you, as we put this into play, where the storm is actually headed right now, because there's London Grove. You definitely right there along Route 1. Of course, Route 1, a major thoroughfare that connects us all the way up toward northern New Jersey and beyond. This is where the storm is crossing over right now. It was moving east at about 20 miles per hour. It is now moving east-southeast at around 20 to 25 miles per hour. This is going to continue to be an issue all the way through at least 8 o'clock, and that's why we are with you tonight, making sure that you are safe and updated. Again, I'm meteorologist Andrew Kozak. A tornado warning for Chester County does include all these areas that are within the box, including London Grove and just north of Nottingham. This is really now crossing over Highway 1. One quick programming note, and it's on there. If you're looking for 60 Minutes, WPSG Channel 57, that's where you can find it. Let's go back. I want to go ahead and also just zoom out really quickly. I want to show you that if we're not talking about your area tonight, it's because you don't have any major warnings in effect for you. In fact, New Jersey right now, cloudy, hot and humid, but we don't have any storms. Philadelphia, we had a little rogue thunderstorm a little earlier around 2, 3 o'clock, but nothing severe. And now this very broken line of thunderstorms is starting to move a little closer to central and northern New Jersey, over toward the northern areas, Montgomery County, back over toward the northern areas of New Jersey, and over toward the Lehigh Valley. We earlier had a tornado warning for Berks, for Lehigh counties. Those are all canceled. But if you're watching from some of the northern areas and you've got some really strong winds and some heavy rain, you are not underneath a tornado warning. It's just Chester County. I believe that's Ocean City. People on the boardwalk, hot and humid. There's Center City on the bigger box next to me, looking great right now. But again, conditions can and most likely will deteriorate as we head into the later part of the evening. This is the storm that we're concerned about. It is the one tornado warned storm. And we have that now for Chester County until 8 p.m. London Grove, I really hope you are in your shelters at this point, because this is the most pronounced portion of the storm right there, slicing through Highway 1 or Route 1. This is where we're looking at it. New London, London Grove, this entire area here has the potential for some very gusty winds. I didn't even talk about the hail, the fact that we could potentially be looking at some hail. In fact, while I'm at it, let me throw the hail product up here, because what we could see here is looking at hail just within the last hour. And are we getting anything with it? Not so much. Now, that's actually not that surprising, considering temperatures have been on the warmer side of things and we don't have much of a hail core with these. But winds can also be an issue, and we've already seen some straight line winds with these storms over 60 miles per hour. Heavy rain as well, and a little bit of lightning, although I'm not too impressed with what we're seeing as far as lightning goes. This is really going to be more of a wind and right now a tornado threat. So let's go ahead and put this into motion. I want to show you really quickly. Hit the wrong button there. There we go. East, southeast right now at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. I'm actually going to go ahead and take the worst of it. This is going to be the line of storms. We're going to take it all the way from the northern edge of Chester County and move it south, southeast, and show you a couple of spots where you need to start thinking about getting to your shelters, because this is not just your run-of-the-mill severe thunderstorm warning. This is a tornado warning. New London at 7:39. That would be approaching you in exactly 2 minutes from now. New Garden at 7:40. Kennett at 7:48. Chesterville coming in at 7:52. And if we start getting a little bit closer to 8 o'clock and this continues, well, then we're looking at areas like Whitebriar right after the hour. So that's what we're looking at now. Let me clear that off the screen. We have some torrential rain just south of London Grove, that little white area here. That's right along Route 1. That's where we have the best potential right now for maybe even some flash flooding. But my biggest concern tonight is going to be the potential for a tornado. And while I look at these different products, I'm looking at red against green. And what does that mean if you're just joining me? Let me explain. If you've been with me since we got on around 6 o'clock, or a little later than 6 o'clock, well, here we go again. Green is wind toward the radar, storm movement. Red away from the radar, toward and away. And when they're up against each other, that's where we see the best possibility for rotation. And we are seeing that now just across Elkville and New London. I believe that is 796. It's not as strong as they used to be. So we're looking right there, 796 Elkville, New London. This is just south of Route 1. Now, we can see some of that red against green. It's not the most pronounced, but there is definitely some upper level rotation here. Let me zoom out a little bit more, and let me put this into play for the last, let's do 45 minutes or so. I love that you can just kind of pick and choose here. So 45 minutes of a loop. Started just near Coleraine, and this is where we were looking at the storm, excuse me, originally being warned when it included Lancaster County. Take a look at the red and green and see that? That same movement continues from Coleraine through Oxford and now New London. And in fact, the last scan looks like we're seeing a little bit more pronounced. So let me bring you up to the current speed here. Time now is 7:38, almost 7:39, and the best area of rotation is going to be across New London right now. If you are in New London, now is the time in Chester County for you to get to your storm shelter. I can't say it enough. If you don't have a basement, get to a first floor interior space. We're talking bathroom, we're talking closet with no windows. Make sure you get there, you crouch down, you protect your head, bring the dog in, of course, the cat, the family, and make sure that you wait this out. Because being safer than sorry is the best plan of action here. I know it might seem a little dramatic, right? But when we have a tornado warning, we absolutely have to take it seriously. And as you all know, this has been a very active year so far. New Jersey, for example, your neighbors just to the east, if you're in Chester County, only typically see 2 tornadoes per year. And earlier this year, in one day, on a Saturday, you might remember, we had 7 to 8 tornadoes in one day, all within a couple of hours. This has been an active pattern. It's only July 2nd. So, New London, we want to make sure you are in your shelters right now as this storm continues to move to the south and the east. So we've gotten that taken care of. Now let's talk about areas past New London. This storm is still flying southeast at around 20 to 25 miles per hour. If this continues, this is not the storm itself, this is just the area of rotation, the best possible opportunity for us to get in on rotation. This would take you to Chesterville at 7:54. Time now is 7:40, so you have about 14 minutes to go. So if you're anywhere between New London and Chesterville, anywhere in between, especially if you're just south of those areas, this is the time to get to your shelters. There's a lot of farmers out there. There's a lot of rural areas out there. Everybody that is in the path of this is just as important as everybody else. So please make sure you take these warnings seriously, because I'm looking from this perspective of seeing where we're looking at rotation. And even though it is a larger scale, it's not the most pronounced, it definitely is rotation. And plus the fact that these storms, especially on the northern end today, a little earlier, have had trained storm spotters give us not only confirmed funnel clouds, but potentially a tornado. We'll know more tomorrow. All right, thank you for keeping that up. Let's get into the view. I'm going to take you. Thank you, Justin. Talking for a couple hours, need a quick sip of water. Let me walk over to the Weather Center. What I want to do as we leave this up for you, once again, remind you, Chester County till 8 o'clock, tornado warning. And then we want to see if there's any storm reports. Okay, so I got one here. Tornado warning does continue till 8 o'clock. Right now in Chester County, just a mile northeast of Lincoln University, a train spotter reported a funnel cloud just about 9 minutes ago. Just northeast of Lincoln University in Chester County. So that said, I'm going to do a quick, I want to make sure I get exactly where this is. Lincoln University in Chester County. So that was about, it was about 8 minutes ago now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in there and we're going to get you this precise area. And this is going to be right there in Pennsylvania. We got that. And that's going to be right there just south of Highway 1. And we're looking at Highway 1, and that is really, really close. Okay, so what we're going to do now is And in fact, even the Google Maps has the tornado warning on there. So that's just literally just down the road, or I should say up the road from Oxford. So Lincoln University, there was a funnel cloud with this. So again, I was just saying, if you've been joining me, I was just saying that we have to take this seriously, right? And now we have a spotter, a trained spotter, confirming a tornado, and that's going to be on this one, Lincoln University. So there's Oxford. Let's get to Oxford real quick. And there's one. So it was right in this area. Right, this is the area here. There's Baltimore Pike. So this is where the funnel cloud was actually spotted with this storm just about 9 to 10 minutes ago. So let's go back on the storm. Now we're taking it just as seriously as we did before, but the difference is we have a confirmed funnel cloud. Now, what's a funnel cloud? A funnel cloud is a rotating column of air that's not in touch with the ground. When it touches the ground, then it's a tornado. But when you have a funnel cloud forming, yeah, it's pretty much a good bet that the rotation that we're seeing not only is capable of producing a tornado, but has produced a funnel cloud, which is the precursor to a tornado. So if you take that, we are going to concentrate on areas now south of Route 1 because we have that confirmed tornado near Lincoln University there. That's just up the road from Oxford. So we're looking at London, we're looking at Chesterville, we're looking at London Grove. There's Highway 1, there's Chesterville. If you are in anywhere in this area, New Garden, this is the time to get to your storm shelters. Tornado warning till 8 p.m. That's another 16 and a half minutes. I am going to stay with you until this thing moves through, until it gets expired, or the best scenario would be for it to be canceled because it weakens. But let's check the velocity on this. Let's see if we have any area of rotation. And guys, we do. There it is. Let me put that into play. This is going to take us the last 30 minutes. There's the same area. There's Upper Oxford. So this is most likely where we saw the funnel cloud right by the university. So that's it there, right south of Highway 1 or Route 1. And now the area of rotation, we took it through New London. That would be most likely the most violent part of the storm, even if it's not producing the tornado. If there's a funnel cloud, it probably passed right across New London, and now it's right across New London just to the east. So this is going to be moving to the southeast, east-southeast at around 20 to 25 miles per hour. Let me zoom back out a little bit. Let me take you and put you in the current time. And man, I could tell you, it's not the strongest signature, obviously, because we've had a confirmed funnel cloud, not tornado. But I could tell you right here, green toward the radar, red away from the radar, and where they're up against each other, this is the location. So let me go ahead and circle that for you. Look, you could see it, but it just makes it a lot easier. That's the area of rotation. Let me go ahead and draw where the most likely path of this would be. I can't tell you this, though. It is looking like it's losing a little bit of its signature. That would be good news. We're going to stay with you until we get confirmation of that. But this will take you toward Wickerton at around 7:49. And that is about 3.5 minutes from now. Chesterville, 7:54. That's on track. It was exactly 7:54 when I did this about 10 minutes ago. So that's good news. Keep that in mind, Chesterville. You have time now. Get to your shelters now. Don't waste any time. You got about 8.5 minutes to go. We got this at Winterbury at 8:26, Wooddale 8:30 if it continues. But again, that's where we have the tornado warning right now for Chester County until 8 o'clock. If you are in the path of this, seek your shelters immediately. There has been a confirmed funnel cloud with this storm, and that's why we want to take it even more seriously now than we even did before. Not that we didn't, but when we have a confirmation like that somebody's actually seeing it, especially a trained spotter, now it's time for you to make sure that you're in your basement, your first floor, away from windows, an interior bathroom, a closet without any windows. And I keep doing this. It's not great for the microphone, but you make sure you go down, protect your head. That is what you need to do. Take it seriously, and then once this thing passes, it is much better for you to go out of the shelter, go out of the basement and say, okay, we did all the right things, because this has been a very active season so far. It's only July 2nd, and we're still seeing these storms firing up. All right. That's the bigger picture there that you saw in the bigger box. Philadelphia, Jersey Shore, you're okay right now. What I do want to do, though, is go back and kind of show you what we're seeing here as far as the bigger picture. The entire market, entire area from the Poconos and Lehigh Valley down just to the south of Philadelphia and, of course, over toward Chester County, looking at a very broken line of storms. The northern end was the most severe up to about an hour ago, and now it's the bottom end near Chester County. Now, this will impact Delaware, so once we get this through Chester County, heads up for areas like Wilmington and all the suburbs north as you approach the Pennsylvania line, because these storms are going going to be moving in your direction. Philadelphia, you are not in the trajectory of any severe weather, at least right now. 7:47 is the current time. You are not in danger. Jersey Shore, you are not in danger. These storms, though, are moving a little closer, and we may also fill these back in. There is one good news, though. It's not all bad. The good news is that as we get closer to sundown, we're going to lose the heating of the day. We're going to lose the oomph, if you will, in the air, and that's going to allow a lot of these storms to kind of collapse and have less of a chance of staying severe. But until we get there, we have to take you through. So Chester County, until 8 p.m., you have this tornado warning. Let's go ahead and once again regroup this, and it is now approaching the area of Delaware, kind of getting right on that state line there. So there's the warning right now. Let me make sure that it is still all up to date. It should stay until 8 o'clock for Chester, and it does. So until 8 o'clock for Chester County. Let's go back in once again and kind of check with the National Weather Service, because they have been a fantastic resource in getting information to all broadcast media to let us know of any trained spotters or emergency management that have any updates. And let's go ahead in there right now. Let's go see if we have anything. Right now, we don't have any updates when it comes to that. But we do have still the tornado warning for Chester County till 8 o'clock. Again, if you're just joining, the funnel cloud with this storm was reported a rotating wall cloud. That's a big kind of, I call it SLC, scary looking cloud, but it has a rotating cloud with it, funnel cloud, just northeast 1 mile of Lincoln University. That's going to be near Oxford. So this storm right now, this is the one warned storm. This continues to move across the area. This is going to most likely start impacting Delaware. We will keep you updated. If I can move this tray table here out of the way. There's Wilmington there on the bottom edge of your screen, 495. Obviously a more packed area of people. We're going to watch this storm. But if you're watching from Wilmington, kind of keep a heads up. Let everybody where you're at know, hey, there is a tornado warned storm in Chester County that's just one county away. So heads up and make sure that that is something that you are kind of aware of here. All right, so that's what we're looking at now. Let me go back just a little bit. This is the bigger picture here. We are in the clear in Allentown. We're in the clear in Berks County, Lehigh County. We have another line of storms, by the way, forming to the back, but we don't have any severe weather on those. It's just the Chester County storm. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this back in here real quick so I can kind of give you an updated look. So let's get back into that storm. Again, this is the Chester County storm. They've actually, just in the last couple of minutes now, really compact the warning down. So this is it. Let me just make sure really quickly that it's not a new warning or it's been expanded till, like, let's say 8:15. It should stay still 8 o'clock. There's Chester. Yep, till 8 o'clock. Okay. So let's get that off the screen there. Let's go back a little bit more and show you some of those areas that I'm concerned about as far as rotation goes. And that's going to be looking at the velocity part of the storm. Chesterville, we talked about the rotation, the possible rotation being in your area between about 750, 754. Right now, it is. So make sure that you are away from windows, in your basement, storm shelter, all of that stuff right now. Take your precautions with this storm. Velocity, let's go back and take a look at this. And I got to tell you, once again, we're looking at the potential rotation right there. Oh yeah. Okay. So that's where it is. So green, let me show you this real quick. Green is wind that is going toward the radar, red away from the radar. So kind of put that on there for you like that. When you go like that, that counterclockwise flow, that's where we most likely have the rotation. Anywhere between Campbellsville, there's London Grove, and right in between is Chesterville. So if you're in the Chesterville area, let me draw that a little bit better. I know it's a little harder to read there, but let's go ahead and erase all that real quick and show you. This is really a more pronounced signature, to be honest with you, of rotation than I've seen pretty much all afternoon. So there's Chesterville, and then there is New London. Okay, that's a little bit better. So that's where we have the potential rotation right here. South of London Grove, north of Campbellsville, and right across Chesterville. So if you are in Chesterville right now, Chester County, Chesterville, get to your shelters immediately. The best chance of a tornado with this is over you. And I would say there is more likely than not a chance that we most likely have a funnel cloud with this, because we've already had a funnel cloud with this same exact storm and it's still rotating. In fact, let me go clear this out and show you the last, let's show you the last 45 minutes. Let's put this rotation into play. I got to tell you, once again, I'm really impressed. It started to lose it a little bit here, and now it's back again. So Chesterville, Campbellsville, London over toward the Britain area, this is where you need to make sure that you are in your shelters right now. Because I got to tell you this, let me take those arrows out of the way. We can get rid of that real quick. This is a pronounced area of rotation. We watched this from Coleraine. We made it cross a 1, and now we have it toward Chesterville. So now you're in this area here, and you have the most pronounced rotation. What we look for on this map, this is the velocity or storm movement, is green going toward the radar, red going away from the radar. And when they're up against each other, especially if the winds are pretty strong, we could see rotation, possibly a tornado. And with this particular system, we've already seen a funnel cloud. So let me go ahead and stop this. And actually I could cue out how strong the wind is. So let's go ahead and do that. So just north of Kemblesville now, we've got winds 65 miles against, let's clear that out. Let's see. Oh, no, I got to do that again. 67 miles per hour there. So that looks at that. So yeah, there's definitely some rotation. It may be small scale here, but we may be looking at a quick, brief tornado moving through. Not to mention the fact that the winds are probably going to be between 60 and 65 miles per hour. So that's what we're looking at here. Let me walk over real quick. Before I do, I'm going to take you back to, let's do this on my clicker. Take you back to the warned storm. There is Chester County. I do want to give you a heads up though, if you're in Delaware, Wilmington, especially if you're living just to the west of Wilmington, we'll show some of those areas on the map in just a second. This tornado warned storm is moving in your direction, but I would say at least right now we do not have a tornado warning for anybody in the Wilmington area or Delaware, but that is probably going to change because I got to tell you, this rotation with this storm is pretty pronounced. So give me 1 second here as we kind of regroup our map here. Again, no new information just yet. Time now is 7:50. And we are continuing to watch a line of some very heavy showers and thunderstorms. Also on the bottom end near Maryland, we're looking at some storms moving over toward the Dover area, heads up there. This has been a very kind of, I don't know what else the word to use, kind of wacky day because the northern end of this was giving us some tornado warnings earlier. The Poconos, Lehigh County, over toward Berks County, and now it's Chester County until 8 p.m. This is the storm that is moving anywhere between 20 and 25 miles per hour. On this view, what I'll do is I'll just move it over. I'll take the entire storm and move that to the east. This will give us an idea of some of those areas. If you are in these areas, by the way, this entire storm is moving toward you. Southwood right now. So if you're in the Southwood area, the storm is over you. Over toward the Mermaid area at 8:08. And we're taking a look at Winterbury at 8:12 and Wooddale at 8:16. So I'm just picking out a couple of places here, especially just now east of Chester County, to give you guys a bit of a heads up. Now what I want to do is get in a little bit closer. I want to continue to look at Chesterfield. I want to take a look at those areas that have the best opportunity for rotation. Now, as I get into this view, now we're starting to see some of the local roads across the area. This is Southwood, this is North Star, this entire system is moving. This is the state line right here, separating Chester County from Delaware, and we're getting now the most pronounced part of this storm now moving over you. So with that tornado warning in play, we want to make sure that a couple of things. Number one, you are in your shelters, you are in a basement, you are on a first floor, lowest part of your house, and most importantly, you have your family inside protecting your head. How do you do that? It's just very simple. Just go down, crouch down, and protect your head until this is over. I always tell people, people always ask, well, what about the TV? Want to hear you talk? You can just put the TV on really loud somewhere else and get into the shelter. If you're in Chester County right now, though, in the storm, you need to make sure that you are already in your shelters. Then I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the velocity, and that's the part of the storm that would show us the potential for rotation. Let me get out. I'm zoomed in quite a bit here. And I'm looking at all the different products, and again, pretty decent velocity signature now just to the north, about 1.5 miles north of Corner Ketch. This is going to be where we have a potential for rotation. This is going to be north of Pike Creek. I look at the other one here. Let's look at the other part of the storm. And again, this is the same areas, just to the east of Chesterville, just to the south of New Garden, north of London Brenton. This is what we're looking at for the possibility of rotation. Winds going toward the radar in green, winds going away from the radar in red, and that's where we have that counterclockwise flow. Tornado warning for Chester County for the next 3 minutes. Again, tough as nails. That is going to be put on WPSG, that is the CW channel 57, so you will be not missing tough as nails on this Sunday evening. But we will continue this now until 8 o'clock. Again, my name is Andrew Kozak, meteorologist here at CBS News Philadelphia. We are keeping you informed with all the severe weather that we've had today for pretty much the last 2 hours. We have had Chester County being the latest storm that is now tornado warned. And if you're in North Star, if you're in areas just now to the east of the state line, you need to make sure that you are in your shelters. You are taking this seriously. We have already had multiple confirmations of funnel clouds. And you know, funnel cloud is the rotating column of air that has not yet touched the ground. When it does, it is a tornado. The good news here is that we do not, I repeat, we do not have any other problems as far as severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings go tonight. But that may change. Right now, we have a tornado warning that is going to be for, make sure I have this all out there for you. That is going to be for Chester County until 8 o'clock. All right, let me go ahead really quick and move back out of the picture. You guys have it there. Chester County, we have a new warning. I was just going over it. Thank you so much. I have a new warning now. I don't think this is a surprise, but this is going to be for Newcastle, Delaware until 8:30 now. So we knew that. That's the same part of the storm. The good news is that there are no other storms that we are warning or that we are seeing being warned, but now we have Newcastle County, Delaware until 8:30 and Chester until 8:30. It's going to be the eastern portion of Chester County. I'm going to grab a water really quick, guys. I've been doing this for about 2 hours right now, so I want to make sure I got my voice to kind of keep you guys in the loop here. There's the big picture. It is Chester County, and now it is Newcastle County, Delaware until 8:30. All right, let's switch back over to 1. Let's show you what's happening out there. This is the storm. By the way, Philadelphia, you're going to get a little rain on the edge of this. If we can possibly here in a second, I'll give you guys a second to pull up the maybe in the 2 box the Center City camera. We'll probably be able to see a little bit of darkening in the sky out there because we have some rain on the top end of this storm system. But really the tornado warned storm, there you go. You could actually see a little bit of cloud cover there, but we don't have at this point. And that's looking to the south, by the way. Am I correct? I believe that is looking to the south. So you can kind of see that on there. You can see the clouds coming off the tops of that tornado warned storm. Again, Philadelphia, you are not in the tornado warning, but the rain that we're going to see, maybe a brief shower, and the clouds that you're seeing there, that's coming off of the county in Delaware, or I should say in Chester County, and now in Newcastle County, Delaware. All right, back to me full screen. There we go. All right, so let's go back into it. Let's get you back onto that warning right now. That is going to give us the severe warning in the outline. Let's show you. This does include Wilmington, by the way. I want to let you guys know. I think you figured that out. But let's just talk about this. That warning, now that is exactly 8 o'clock. The Chester County warning fell off, the old one. Now it's Chester on the eastern side and Newcastle until 8:30. So we're going to stay with you now for at least the next half hour so that we can keep you safe and informed. Tough as nails. If you're here to watch Tough as Nails, you will not miss it. Just go over to channel 57, WPSG CW, and we will have Tough as Nails airing for you. But here on CBS News Philadelphia, we're going to keep you safe and informed with continued severe weather coverage until we get you safe and out of these storms, or at least the storms out of your area, since they're the ones that are moving. So let's stop it right now. Let's bring it up to the current time. Let's talk about this storm. Let's talk about this cell now moving. Let me put it into play for you. This is going to take you to the last 3 hours. This storm came all the way out from the western edge of or eastern edge of Lancaster County to Chester County, and now moving toward the Wilmington area in Newcastle. This one is now moving anywhere between 20 and 25 miles per hour east, a little bit of a southeast turn, and because we've already had the potential for a tornado with multiple confirmed funnel cloud reports with this, we are taking this seriously tonight. Bring it up to the current time. Let's get in a little bit closer and let's talk about the wind on this. The wind, the velocity that has been crucial tonight in making sure that we can see for you the exact areas of where we're seeing rotation. One area I want to look at here, this little dot right here, this little area of green or lighter in between, that may be one potential area of rotation. What we do is we look at our velocity product. That is going to be wind going toward and away from the radar. And guys, I could tell you right now, we have a couple of areas here crossing over state line. This is where we most likely have the rotation. This is going to be an area of wind in green toward the radar, red away from the radar. And when they're up against each other, that's where you have the rotation. If you've been watching me for the last couple hours, and you might have, some of you might have, we've been saying that over and over again. People are just tuning in, especially in Newcastle County, especially in eastern sections of Chester County. This is where we right now have the best, most pronounced portion of this storm producing what is rotation. There is no denying that. When they give a tornado, the National Weather Service gives a tornado warning, it's because we're looking at rotation on the upper levels. We call that radar indicated. This radar is indicating that there is the potential for a tornado here. What we also like to see, if we're going to say that there is a tornado, would be confirmation. And so far, this storm tonight has given us confirmation of a funnel cloud, which is a violent rotating column of air, not yet in touch with the ground. As soon as it does, it becomes a tornado. All right, so that's the best pronounced area of rotation. Out of all the different radars that we're looking at, that is definitely there. So what do we do when we put this into motion? We can see how consistent this is. If there is a funnel cloud, if there is a tornado, it is very consistent with that area. And you can see it from New London to London, Britain. And there it is, just to the north of London, Britain. In fact, anywhere between London, Britain and state line is where we most likely are looking at where that funnel cloud continues. That funnel cloud was first spotted, by the way, in Chester County, north of Lincoln University. That's just about a mile or so northeast of Oxford. So we're going to, or to say southwest of Oxford. So we're going to see this now crossing over. So if this is where the potential tornado is, right? This is where we know the rotation is for sure. Then let's go ahead and take that up to the current time and put a track on that for you. And that's going to give us exactly where it's going to be. And that right there is going to take it to Corner Catch at 8:06, which is about 3 minutes from now. Meadowbrook at 8:10, Mermaid at 8:16, Sherwood Park at 8:24, Washington Heights at 8:29, and Willow Run at 8:34. So that's where we're really looking at that potential right there. Again, the storm movement, it gives us the very good opportunity to see where the rotation would be, wind going toward, wind going away from the radar. And that, my friends, is where we have the potential for a tornado, which is why we have that tornado warning now until 8:30 for both the eastern side of Chester and for Newcastle County. Let me go ahead, because this storm is moving pretty swiftly, about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and save this now as the view. There's also some lightning with this, not a ton. There's also been some reports of a little bit of hail. There hasn't been a lot of hail with this. I want to see if we can actually see it right now, see if there's any hail on this with our hail product. In the last hour, have not seen hail. Now up to the current time, oh, you know what, there's a little bit, but we're talking maybe some Peter marble size hail. If you can see, there was a little bit of gray picking up. That's not very good. So hail is not going to be a huge concern, but this is going to be a big concern. The wind and the potential for some very, very strong winds going toward and away from the radar. If you're in Wilmington right now, heads up, because this entire storm is moving toward your direction. And we could be looking at the most intense part of it, where the rotation would be, heading to you, let's see, at 8:38. Excuse me. So we're most likely, if this holds together, even though this storm is warned, this tornado warning until 8:30, potentially we could see this go even past that. So heads up, Wilmington. It's a more populated area. For everybody else now, Chester County, you are just about done with this. The potential for a tornado is now moving toward Newcastle County, and I would not be surprised. In fact, I put money on the fact that before 8:30, we're going to slice Chester County out of the warning and keep Newcastle in. That said, let's take you back into where the velocity would be. This would be the winds going toward and away from the radar, and give you the best potential of where we still would be looking at some rotation. And right now it would be just north of Pike Creek. Again, we showed you London, Britain, just to the east. This would be the best potential for rotation from Pike Creek, just north of West Meadow, and then that would make it through Pike Creek. Sherwood Park, heads up for you. Let me go ahead and move this out of the way just a little bit bigger. And I want to show you, if you're just joining, what's really fascinating is we look for the potential of where the wind is up against each other, where the rotation would be. And the last couple of frames, you can follow it. You could follow it right here, just south of London Grove, through London, Britain, and now across just north of Newark. So this is really the best potential of where a tornado would be. If this is going to continue on this path, then there are areas, let's go back to the radar. There are areas here that are going to be in the path of this between where it is now and Wilmington. So you got Wilmington there on the far corner of your screen. You got Wawasset Park just to the north and west, Greenville. These are all areas, Wooddale, Walnut Ridge, the Cedars along Highway 34. These are all areas right now ripe for getting where this tornado would be. Funnel cloud for sure has been detected with this, and we have had reports from trained spotters of seeing rotation, a rotating wall cloud and a funnel cloud. Again, all of that means that when we see that, the potential for a tornado is even greatly more elevated, because we have seen this already produce not only rotation in the upper levels, but then a funnel cloud forming down. All right, so just kind of back to where we began. We don't have any other severe thunderstorm warnings or severe thunderstorm tornado warnings or anything like that. But I do want to go ahead, as we keep this view up, the larger view, walk over to the National Weather Service chat. We have been in constant contact with them, seeing if there's any new information here. There is a new report from Chester County at 7:49. There is a New London Township. There was a tornado reported on the ground near New London. Now, this is where we were just talking about it, New London. We were just talking about that near there. So Chief Meteorologist Bill Kelly in as well. No, you're good. You're good. I want to get in really quickly.
Yeah, no, please.
We were tracking this, Bill, through New London, and that's where we were looking at the most pronounced rotation. We were showing the velocity, the storm movement, and now we have a storm report that it is now official tornado
I saw that
picture.
Confirmation, yeah.
So we're going to get that picture for you. We got people in the newsroom working. We'll get that picture for you now. Let's bring you up to the current time and bring you over toward Newcastle County, because as we talked about, this storm. Now, let's go put this on the sweep for you. This storm now has a history of producing a confirmed tornado. I don't feel as bad taking up all your time tonight, because now we do have a confirmed tornado warning for Chester County and Newcastle County, Delaware, until 8:30. Now, the Chester County one, this is really starting to move toward the state line of Delaware. So I really think at this point, Chester is most likely going to fall off. But we did have now a confirmed tornado. Picture on social media has shared. We'll get that for you as soon as we can. And that was confirmed there in New London about a little less than 15 minutes ago. Let's go ahead and put the velocity product on there for you again. This is going to take us where we had the best chance of seeing where the rotation would be. And that is going to be, again, right now at this point, moving by North Star, moving south near Heather Valley, and this is now moving across the state line into Delaware. So if you're in Delaware at this point, in Newcastle County, Delaware, please make sure that you are in your shelters. And we've talked about where that is, what you need to be. I'll remind you in just a second, but I just want to show you, if you're in Pike Creek right now, this is the same storm that we know of now that has produced a tornado, a confirmed tornado on the ground. So that means that we will continue to watch for this to move to the east at around 20 miles per hour. If I stop this and bring you up to the current time, and we got that, let me see if there's any other better view of velocity. There it is by Pike Creek. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to use that one right there, and I'm going to take this to the east. I'm going to put a track on it for you. And that's going to take you here. Mermaid, 819. This is not where the storm is. This is where the potential tornado is. If it's still on the ground, this is where it's going to be. 819 in Mermaid. Tybrook at 832. I don't want to forget Winterbury, 826. Roselle Terrace at around 836. Ellesmere at 839. And Wawasset Park at 849. If you are in these areas, especially Mermaid, Winterbury, over toward Tybrook, now is the time to get to your shelters. This storm has produced a tornado. We have a confirmed spotter, a confirmed picture on social media with a tornado. That is a funnel cloud. We had a couple of those confirmed earlier. Now we have a tornado in contact with the ground. Get to your shelters. First floor, basement is the best, but if you don't have a basement, the first floor, make sure you get down, you protect your head, you make sure your dog's inside, the cat, any pet's family, and wait it out. We always say we want to prepare you, not scare you, but this is what we're preparing you for. Don't be scared, but just make sure that you understand that when you have a tornado warning, you got to take all precautions. I much rather people will be mad that you went into a shelter and wasted time on a holiday weekend than if it really was bad and you didn't take those precautions. So that's why we're here tonight. National Weather Service, they issue the warnings. We're here to tell you and communicate to you about them. Now, this is more of a Delaware County problem. This is going to be now near Pike Creek. This is moving to the east at around 20 to 25 miles per hour. Let's put that storm movement in play once again. And you can see it's like right there. Right by Hockessin. We're really looking at this storm making a beeline down the highway, and if it holds together, Wilmington, start thinking about this. I'll tell you this, I'm going to go so far out as to say this right now. If you are in the Wilmington metro area and you have a barbecue, you have people over, you're outside, it's time. It's time to get back inside. It's time to take your precautions. You have a tornado warning, Wilmington, and that means it is time to get to your shelters. And while you have a few minutes to go, more so than some of your western and northwestern suburbs and outlying areas, it is time to take the precaution, especially if you have people outside. If you know anybody at a park, if you know anybody that's trying to enjoy the day out there, give them a call. Let them know that you have a tornado warning in Wilmington. The entire area, we've got a tornado warning, especially if you're north of 495 and northwest. Hockessin, that's where we have that. Thank you so much. Lots of places right now to pronounce on the map. So Hockessin right now, this is where we have the most, Hockessin, this is where we have the best potential for some of that rotation right now, and that is making its way down toward the Wilmington area. Let me get in, put it up to the current speed. Again, we've been looking at the storm movement. That is wind going toward the radar, wind going away from the radar, and when you got the green against the red, that's where you have the best possible rotation. So let me go back in and put you on the sweep on this, and that's going to give us an opportunity to show you. There's the warning. I believe Chester may have been taken off of this. Chief Meteorologist Bill Kelly is at the Weather Center. Bill, Newcastle County now, heads up. This is now a storm that not only is warned, but confirmed with a tornado.
That's what I was just looking at. And I just want to point out, thank you for your coverage, Andrew, for the last couple of hours. It's turned into a fairly large day around here when the beginning of the day didn't quite look like those parameters would do that. You're talking about that one, the tornado warning that was issued at 7:53 that was located. That was the confirmation. It was located over North Star or near Newark, moving east at 20 miles per hour. And that's what we're continuing to watch. There's been a couple of these cells that have moved through that were warned earlier on, and now, well, they're starting to kind of get isolated and focused into this one particular area. But yeah, we really want to stress big time, you folks in Newcastle County in Delaware, this is where we are watching right now. This is where we have the lone tornado warning that is in effect in our area. As you can see, that is the shade of red, but the whole region is under the shade of pink, which is the severe thunderstorm watch. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect right now down to the south and into Kent County as well. So like we've been doing here for the last couple of hours, we stay on the air for things like this to help keep you and your family safe, especially that we have that tornado warning. And, you know, Andrew, after you get a break there and take a couple of drinks of water, if you could monitor the National Weather Service chat. I don't have it right here. I'll get that up and running for a few minutes.
Bill, I do want to just tell everybody real quick that this exact storm that we're covering, because it's just one warning right now for Newcastle. Right. When it was in Chester County, just about 10 minutes ago, a train spotter has reported small funnels around Landenberg. Okay. Tree limbs down, no major damage right now, but we have seen funnels, and that is something that before you came in, we've been looking at this. Multiple funnel clouds reported with these storms today. Chester County and now the one in Newcastle County, a history of producing not only the funnels, but then we do have that one confirmed by a social media picture.
A picture, right.
So we're going to wait to get that. But yes, this is a tornado warning that has now officially produced multiple funnels and potentially a tornado.
Sure, and like I heard you say earlier as I was listening to the coverage as I was driving in, you know, the funnel cloud is a rotating column of air that doesn't touch the ground. The second it touches the ground, you know, it is a tornado, and you get these funnels, but then once you get that confirmation, that, as you very well said, that is the reason why we are on the air and we are covering this, because of the danger that it is certainly now confirmed doing. So let's get you another track, a fresh track here. So we are into northern Delaware, of course, into Newcastle County. Here's Wilmington. Here's 495. This is the Delaware Memorial Bridge, Delaware Bay Memorial Bridge. This is right where it cuts off here and goes to 95 North. So this area right here where you see the lightning and the bright shades, this is what we've been tracking on the radar. When we zoom on down, we're looking at a product called velocity. And what velocity is velocity talks about the direction of the storm and the intensity of the storm. And if the storm is all moving one way, I know there's some colors on here for you, it's going to show one color. Red if it's away, green if it's toward. When we get motion like this, you see the opposite colors. And what this means is the radar is this direction. That's why you're seeing the green moving in toward Wilmington. But then the red is this area that there is this spin like this. And so here's your rotation right down in here. I'm going to track this out for you in just a second. Before we do, I'm going to go on down, zoom on in, because we're going to get some new information here in just a second. So give you some localized areas. Sherwood Park, Limestone Acres, there's Tybrook, there's Washington Heights. Okay, if you're in this area, we're really starting to move now out of rural areas and into significant population. I mean, we're talking about the city of Wilmington being north of this. The track that it's moving, Wilmington, but I mean, here's Newport, here's Wilmington here. The threat for Wilmington City proper, probably to the north. So we're gonna anticipate this moves this way, going over though, right at that connection of 495 and into 95 as well. Of course, if this holds together, which it has been doing, it will continue to move across. There's Newcastle. I mean, this whole area, as we zoom on down, I mean, this is all, as you well know if you live here, populated. So what do? Let me put the track on here. And then zoom this, make sure it's set for the right time. Andrew, we're tracking what? We got about 20, 25 miles per hour? Is that what we're still holding at?
About 20 to 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on at 25 miles per hour because I want it to be, if anything, maybe a little overwarned. I want the timing to hit your area before the storm hits you. So I'm going to go at that 25 mark. And we're going to track this out. Let's just do a kind of general direction in this way. Okay, so I'll move out of the way. If you hear your city, you see, you know any friends and families, you can help us that are in this area. You can help be part of this coverage, get the word out, let them know here what is going on. So the Cedars, essentially now, I got 8:18 on my timestamp, so that's within the next couple of minutes. And what I'm doing is I'm tracking this right at that area that the radar is indicating that rotation. Okay, 8:25, Ellesmere, 8:28, so another 10 minutes from now, you got Latimer Estates, South Wilmington, right around 8:32. Yeah, puts us at about 15 minutes, 14 minutes, somewhere in there. Kearney's Corner, 8:42. Dancy's Corner at 8:46. So we're going to be crossing over the Delaware, moving on into Salem County out of this. So we're going to continue to watch this. What does this mean if you're in the path of the storm? Well, we have a confirmed tornado, at least at one point. That confirmation came in at 7:53. Let me know if you see anything jumping in on there, Andrew, that is fresh. Just holler on in if I'm in the middle of talking. So is it on the ground now? We don't have that confirmation. I will tell you, though, there's a pretty obvious spin here. So if it already has that confirmation, I would not be surprised in any way. At minimum, this thing is churning big time. And it could potentially hit the ground, bounce up a little bit, maybe hit the ground again, but there's absolutely rotation. There's absolutely some damaging winds going on here. I have no doubt about that. So what can you do? What does that mean? As many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you have a basement, now's a great time to, calmly grab the kids. Hey, let's go spend some time down in the basement. It's 4th of July holiday weekend. I'm sure a lot of people are here. You're gathered with friends and family. A lot of kids might be up. Maybe you're doing some celebration tonight because it's a Sunday night instead of a Tuesday night. I know a lot of neighbors in my area did that last night. They're doing it tonight. Calmly take people into the basement. If you don't have a basement, it's the center part of a house. As many walls between you and the outside as possible. What I always tell people in situations like this, what you want to think about is not the winds per se. The winds themselves, yes, they can be dangerous, but it's the stuff that's in the wind. It's the stuff that the tornado has just inevitably picked up. Now, maybe that could be small branches or twigs. Maybe it can be larger things. Maybe it can be rocks or stones. If it did any damage to a home, it could be stuff from a roof and shingles. Stuff that's flying around that can shatter windows. You don't ever want to stand in the front looking out a window. Hey, I heard there's a tornado warning. We don't get those very often. Let's take a look. That's not a good thing. I heard Andrew saying earlier, and I thought it was great advice. If you have a helmet or something, and you go down, you duck down and protect your head if there's a storm heading your way, because you might be thinking, okay, this isn't Oklahoma City, this isn't an EF5 tornado. We don't see any of that at this point in terms of violence, but we definitely see a tornado. But that doesn't matter, is my point. The tornado might be off in the distance, but glass from your window shatters and comes in because of something, and maybe the tornado doesn't hit your house directly. It's those types of things, and that's why we take these situations extremely serious. That's why we're here covering the programming. And by the way, we will say that we have our programming on Channel 57. We did that with 60 Minutes. We're doing it now as well. So if you're tuning in going, hey, I want to watch the program here on CBS, it is ongoing right now. It is on the air on Channel 57. But that's that storm that we are tracking with the tornado warning as we speak. If I take this off and I put the tornado warning on itself, it stops at this moment at the Delaware. And this warning expires, what, Andrew, it's 8:30, right?
8:30 right now.
I could query it, but I figured I'd ask. So 8:30 is when it's set to expire. I would say that if that velocity signature, which is, again, a product of the radar that shows us the direction and the speed that this storm is moving, what's called composite radar. But the radar, as you know it, looks like this. And what we're seeing is some hail. That's what this little area in that same region I just pinpointed where the spin was. That white shade is hail. There are numerous cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, so lightning is a danger with this one as well. There's some heavy rain, and we're also seeing some strikes out ahead of it as well. So you don't have to be underneath the heaviest part of the storm to be struck by lightning. Lightning can strike outside of where it is the heaviest. It's just electrical discharge that's going on. And I'm going to take another scan. Andrew, you seeing anything fresh on chat?
No, I just if you wanted a break from that, I was going to show everybody kind of the bigger picture. But no, certainly this is the most. Now that's what's behind you. That's
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why. Again, we kind of go back, and if we get super local, if you guys want to hop back in here again to Max 3, I just want to show exactly what we're talking about over Sherwood Park. It's this different color. Like, you see this red and you see this green right in here, in red and green, and it's a blocky rectangle. That has to do with what's called the resolution. But if we sample this out, and I choose like this one right here, and you can see that it has a 34-mile-per-hour wind, which by itself doesn't sound all that high, which that by itself necessarily isn't. But some of this one's registering at 13. This here could be a 60, 70-mile-per-hour pretty easily spinnable wind that is touching the ground. So it's not just the one there, but that is it continues to be, I should say, a fairly clear sign. And as let me widen this out just a little bit, and I'll do another fresh track for you. It's a very clear color difference. All of these winds around the city of Wilmington, up to Woodbine, moving up out of Delaware into Delaware County, out of Chester County now, by the way. You folks in Chester County have the all clear. Also, too, Andrew, while I'm focusing on this, I'm looking at the other radar. I see a couple of storms, or at least this line maybe developing north of it. If you want to just kind of investigate that a little bit, or those storms that are behind it, and see if there's anything a little more threatening out of that we might be tracking in a little while, we'll take a look at that as well.
I can tell you that the good news here is that if you're looking at Pottsville, this is actually the second round of storms now.
Right.
Moving up here along 80. We are not looking at any severe weather with these. Now that can change, and these are looking more straight lined. So if they do develop, they may be more severe thunderstorm, less tornado, but there is no severe weather here. So if you're looking at earlier was Lehigh and Berks County, we're not looking at anything there. However, the storm that we're watching obviously is the Wilmington storm, the Newcastle. We were showing a little earlier the center city camera pointed south. If you guys want to throw that up real quick, you could see the clouds to the south from the tornado warned storm. If we throw that up there, you'll be able to see that. But it's really to the south. There is, I mean, that's a very ominous picture. Philadelphia, Let me just say real quick, you are not in any storms, let alone any warnings, Philadelphia, but you are looking at this picture, looking to the south at a tornado warned storm that is now approaching the Wilmington area. It is the only warning that we have right now in the entire CBS3 viewing area. But we are taking this seriously, Bill. Just to reiterate again, we don't have anything fresh in the last 10 minutes coming up from any sort of anybody seeing anything on
Sure.
there, but we have had multiple funnel clouds with this storm since it started in Lancaster County, really.
Right.
And then moved into Chester and now Newcastle. And a tornado. We are working still to get a picture confirmed, but then we are taking this very seriously. And again, Bill, you talked about this. Wilmington, one of the most populated areas now just south of Philadelphia. Everybody needs to get inside, get to the shelters, basement, preferably first floor if not. This is still showing very large signs of rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, outside of that, you have the lightning and you have the heavy rain as well. I was tracking this storm or watching it as I was driving in. It's pretty significant storm in terms of height. So I want to show you something. It just got a new scan, and what we're watching, I'm just going to kind of go back and forth on this one. And we have this active tornado warning at this hour for another 5 minutes, and we'll see if the National Weather Service extends it. But as I drive this back and forth, I mean, right here, as you can see, right around 8:17, 8:19, this, I would not be surprised in any way if the National Weather Service goes out tomorrow and surveys and gets some damage here. But as I'm going forward, that was 10 minutes ago. Now, right around 6 minutes ago on this scan, it's starting to break up on these last few scans. You see that, how it kind of like starts to fizzle where it's this really bright, you know, right here. It was coming out of Chester County. We had the confirmation back here right around 7:53 was where that confirmation was. And this right here, this is a very clear back around that 8 o'clock time frame where there was likely a tornado on the ground. But now this is starting to fizzle a little bit, Andrew, and we'll have to watch that.
Well, and just as you said it, it fizzled, and now it will be allowed to expire at 8:30. Not only that, but we are looking at still, you know, I think at the upper levels, we're going to see some rotation with this. And if you're in Wilmington, there's no doubt you're going to get a strong / severe thunderstorm. But if this thing had dropped a tornado, which it most likely did, it is now looking like that rotation is now so weak that this will expire in about 2.5 minutes, and we will be, for the first time in about 2.5 hours, warning free. I don't want to speak too soon because we're not done yet the evening yet, but we will be warning free as of 8:30. Well,
and then what we're going to do, folks, is just so you know, since they are allowed that to expire, we still want you in this area to take your tornado precautions. It's a good rule of thumb. If nothing else, you have the strong winds, you have the lightning, and you have the heavy rain coming down. But what we're going to do is, assuming, like Andrew just said, the National Weather Service does not extend this tornado warning, we'll dart out, we'll take a breath, we'll reevaluate, we'll look, but please know that we are here. If there is another tornado warning issued, we will jump on the air and we will cover it. It is what we do, and that's why we also put 60 Minutes in the program right now on our sister station, which we can do from time to time on Channel 57. One other look here, and I just want to confirm to Control Room, that's what we're going to do. If correct, right? Just let me know. I assume that's what we're going to do. For the rest of this evening, here's where we have. So that tornado warning is going to expire, as we just talked about. The area is under a severe thunderstorm watch, and a watch means conditions are possible. A warning means it's happening or will happen. The watch at this point stays up until 11 o'clock, and that means severe thunderstorms can occur. There is a severe thunderstorm warning right now in Kent County, just outside of Dover. The reason for that is because of strong winds and the potential for hail. Now, there has been in this basically this line that rolled through Lancaster. We had one earlier up in the Berks and Lehigh County. That one was allowed to expire, but we had this one line that just tapped into enough energy and enough spin in the atmosphere that we had that ongoing tornado warning for a couple of hours. But the rest of the region looks like this at this hour. So we have some scattered showers and storms that are around the area. The strongest right now in our region is over Wilmington. There's a stronger storm down here that's warned that's moving into southern parts of Kent County. Looks like the strength of that one's probably going to go down into Sussex County, at least maybe far south Kent County and into Sussex as well. But real quick while we have you, I'll put a track on this one for you. This is not a tornado warning. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. So you can see places here like Harrington. This will be closer to about the 9 o'clock hour, so maybe a half an hour from now. Friends and family out and about, you're firing up the grill, you're getting together, you hear the sound of thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning, and there is a strong storm that will be approaching your area. Could it have some spin and develop into a tornado? It is certainly possible, and we will continue to watch that here. We're not seeing, let me go to a different radar for this, one that's a little bit closer. This one going into Kent County has very strong winds, no doubt doubt about that. Those bright shades almost in the blue hue here, and this is relatively close to the radar. I mean, we're pushing 55, 60 miles per hour. So this is a pretty strong storm, but the difference between this one and what we've been tracking, and you just saw if you've been with us with our coverage, notice it's all one direction here. We're not seeing, or at least one color, I should say, one color hue. We're not seeing a big bright blip of red in the middle of it. That would be an indicator that the winds inside are going in a different direction in a very isolated spot. So we're not seeing a tornado on that one. National Weather Service doesn't either, and that's why they don't have the warning up for that one. And we go back up, they don't have the tornado warning. I should be clear on that. And then right now we go back to the one in Wilmington that expires now, essentially. Let's see if they've even taken it off the map. They've taken it off the map. Yep. And one last thing I want to look at is just to see if there is anything that's fresh. Still a little bit of spin. It's kind of muddy here. But yeah, we do not have that. So we will now join Tough as Nails in progress. It has been a long evening. We'll stay with you. If another warning goes into effect, we'll come back on the air. We'll let you know. And of course, our newscast will be right here at 11. Thanks for staying with us. This is CBS News Philadelphia and the Next Weather Team.